So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be game 2, the Copenhagen Wolves versus Samurai in Jeans. The Copenhagen Wolves feeling confident, I might add. I just spoke to them on the stairs, and I actually felt, I said, that was a close game for you guys. And he was like, nah, we kind of threw it a little bit, and we managed to get back into it. We kind of threw it a few times, but maybe nerves starting off. Look, and that's when you make them mistakes. But the fact that they've got that game out of the way, bearing in mind, like, Giants won their first game, went 2-0. And then kind of made the mistakes.
Yeah.
Against all authorities, once they lost that first game, they didn't even look like they were in it. That was it. Are we going to see maybe the same coming out from the Copenhagen Wolves and then picking up that confidence, kicking in, and away they go?
It's definitely a possibility. You've got to remember that with this particular matchup, even though the Wolves won it, they were the ones making the plays, but some of them backfired.
Yes.
You know, they were being very aggressive in certain situations, trying to set ganks up, and the Samurai and Jeans were able to turn them around and say, well, we're not just going to let you roll over us. I feel that if the Samurai and Jeans had made some slightly more aggressive plays and actually had taken it a little bit more to the Wolves, they may have found more opportunities for themselves. And the key is just finding out how they can actually weasel their way into this game.
And of course, there is a vote over at lolesports.com. Who you think is going to win? Get over there and check it out. And of course, what is the percentages right now?
Copenhagen Wolves, 87.5% of the vote to 12.5% of the vote for the Samurai and Jeans. It's not the biggest difference we've seen. I believe we have seen a 93.7 before, but that is pretty convincing that the community believe the Wolves will close this out.
Maybe if they were in pajamas, it would be a closer vote.
It's definitely a possibility. It'll be a lot more comfortable, maybe more relaxed on stage, and you know, would be able to channel their inner legends, as it were.
Well, there is Young Buck, and I think the manager, actually, Deficio just said, what did the manager say? 3-0? Was he saying 3-0? I don't think so.
Oh.
The smack talk was there, but it wasn't quite on the stage.
Well, it's something that's quite nice to see. Both of the players, both Young Buck and Deficio, we've heard from them over the course of the last day or two, and Young Buck has definitely been saying, look, it's kind of a bummer that we have to face the Wolves because we feel we'd be top level. You know, we'd be able to challenge. Deficio saying, well, we feel that maybe they're a little overrated, and, you know, we'll see. But out of the teams, you definitely feel that the Samurai and Jeans were arguably the most impressive of the 8 amateur squads.
Yes, absolutely. So, picks and bans coming through. Singed immediately taken away from this time. Zach also banned out. Elise and Zed, that does mean Shen and Twisted Fate currently in there. We'll see whether they get banned out. I expect Shen, if he gets through, will be the first pick for Young Buck. Of course, he played it very well yesterday. Does that mean we're going to see a Shen ban or a Twisted Fate ban? Of course, there is also Jarvan the 4th in there. A number of champions. So, Kassadin taken away from Bjergsen. Interesting.
So, in this situation now, and we've actually had the pleasure of listening to the Evil Geniuses, when they talk about picks and bans and how they prep for it, you either ban all of the globals, all of the OPs, or you let them through.
Yeah,
yes, so you let them through, correct. And I think this is what Samurai and Jeans are trying to do. They're trying to say, look, Wolves, you make a play, see what you want to ban, and you can see, like you said, Jarvan 4th was banned last game, Shen banned last game, Twisted Fate was picked, and now the question is, who do the Samurai and Jeans want to pick?
And and you can see the Copenhagen Wolves in the same, like, well, we're going to let one through, we're going to let them both through, so we're going to get one of them regardless.
Exactly, and depending on which one they pick up, we know how well Bjergsen can play on Twisted Fate, and we know how terrifying Godbro can be on Shen. If Twisted Fate's locked in here, I expect Shen and Jarvan the 4th to be picked up by Copenhagen Wolves.
I think they're going to go, they're going for Jarvan the 4th over Shen and Twisted Fate. Oh my God, they've given Shen and Twisted Fate to Copenhagen Wolves. They're going to get locked in.
That's definitely where my money would lie. Now, this is how the Samurais and Jeans picked up a victory yesterday. And Nexus were the people, the fools that made the mistake of allowing 2 globals into their opponent's hands, and they've just done exactly the same now.
If this was solo queue right now and you knew you were up against, you'd be typing GG in chat already.
So the question is, can Cottonex's Jarvan do to Copenhagen Wolves what he did to a Nexus, and that is decimate, destroy, and simply cataclysmically end their lives, because he was incredibly dominant yesterday on that champion.
Now, Freeze and Unlimited worked very well with Misfortune and Thresh, of course. Thresh has been banned out this time around. Let's see what Unlimited is going to take as his support. Expect to see whether he's going to go towards that one. Lulu has been played, I believe, in the past, so maybe he's going to go for that one, and there it is.
So Lulu, Unlimited played twice yesterday. He did very well on that champion, obviously, because their team was winning so incredibly well, and you've got a very good synergy there between the Jarvan and the Lulu that sort of go in. Kha'Zix is still available, and it wouldn't surprise me to see that being locked in, maybe for the Samurais in Jeans. The jungler for Copenhagen Wolves, this is the question. Do they want to go with Cho'Gath again? They don't have that damage threat from Singed in the top lane, that sort of beefy AP damage threat, so it's definitely a question. Maybe something like a Nautilus. Even the Xin Zhao, we've seen him running a number of times before.
Well, Deficio's Sona worked very well last time around. The test does get his Ezreal, so he's going to be a happy chappy right now. Has played Ezreal way too much
Interestingly though, he didn't do particularly well with it during the spring split. In the Warsaw qualifiers, he did incredibly well. He dominated with their champion. He's played it 6 times in spring, but with only 1 victory. So it's something that it didn't really work out.
It was all at the start, though.
Correct. It was at the start, and he transitioned from Ezreal into Varus really, really well. And I think that's one of the reasons. So we'll see. More importantly, what he's going to build. Is he going to be taking, the page out of Creatin's book and building that sort of Elder Lizard kiting build that we like to see?
Freeze's waiting instructions. Freeze and Unlimited, they're going to be making the final picks here. They are both on your screen. Freeze on the left, Unlimited on the right. And who will they go with? Fizz might
Fizz
come out here. It's a very good fight against Twisted Fate in that mid lane.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a direct matchup. Now, Malphite was banned in the previous game, so the Wolves took that away from Youngbuck. This time around, it will be given to him. And we've seen just how terrifying the Fizz versus Twisted Fate matchup has happened before. Alexic destroying Xpeke. He even went 30-0-0 as far as his runes and masteries were concerned. So we may see something similar from Extinct. And, we've heard how mechanically sound this player is. We've seen it. He may be looking to destroy Bjergsen in lane.
So the final pick. Where will it be? Jungler, what is he going to take? Svenskeren, is he going to be the Cho'Gath once again? Will he go with something different?
I imagine Cho'Gath might work quite well. It'll be a very good interrupt, especially against a Fizz. He's going to be able to Playful Tricks to one of the abilities. Then, if you time the Rupture or the Feral Scream, you can silence and knock him up. In addition, it's a good counter to the Varus and the Jarvan. When they dive in or they're trying to put their damage down, just interrupt them, focus on whoever's jumped into your face, and then try to win those team fights.
Cataclysm, straight on it.
Exactly. And everybody that's caught inside will immediately get knocked up, and it'll give the Copenhagen Wolves the advantage. In terms of damage threats, all the pressure is on Bjergsen in the test right now, because yeah, Shen can deal some damage. Yeah, Feast is there from Svenskeren, but in comparison to Malphite, in comparison to Jarvan, there's a lot less damage sources and damage threats from the Copenhagen
There's a lot of Initiate coming out from Samurai and Jeans here, though.
From everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely everybody. If you have a Malphite Unstoppable Force go landing in, you're going to hear that truck sound. Everyone's going to land. Then, all of a sudden, Wild Growth's going to land, knock everyone up. Then you're going to see Cotnex coming in with a knock-up. And it's just going to be this chain CC of knock-up before you've even added the Earth into the equation from Chumber Waters.
Do you think he's going with Earth? I didn't think he was. Let's see what Skinny comes out with. We'll get it in a moment. You can see the Samurai and Jeans discussing. And actually, they still look very confident. I mean, they could take a lot from that last game because they played very well in it. It did work out in their favor. I heard them outside as well. They were still feeling a very confident team. And why not? Because they just took Copenhagen Wolves for a really long game. Could have gone either way. And you can see the game loading up there. Oh, he's gone for Atlantean.
Yeah, he's gone for the killer whale. So he's looking to kill in this particular matchup. And he's gone all in. 30-0-0 on masteries for Extinct, with 8 flat armor penetration. So he is really looking to destroy. Remember, this is 3.5 balance, which means he's probably going to pick up that red pot early on, get that plus 15 attack damage, and really just try to throw everything at Bjergsen. The pressure is on this youngster now, this young star, if you will. We'll see how he handles the pressure.
I always feel when I see these guys, the Test, Deficio, and Bjergsen all sat there in the line, I always feel Deficio's got a really calming tone on that team. Because you can see them, they're like, and then he's just like, no, guys, just take him home. Because he used to be their manager.
He's kind of like a dad, isn't he?
He's
got this aura. Like, he'd make a good dad. That's just the vibe I get when I talk to Deficio.
Don't tell his girlfriend who's in the crowd.
No, but he's just got that calming presence, exactly like you said. It's like, don't worry, son, it'll be all right. Thanks, Dad.
It'll be all right on the night, don't worry.
Right now, though, he is, of course, playing Sona once again. Going to be looking to replicate those fantastic crescendos against his opponent's team, the Samurai in Jeans. And this time round, the Wolves, they're not stacked up like they were in Game 1. A little bit more defensive, playing human wards across the entrances to their jungle.
And also looking at going 2v1 by the looks of it, you can see the fact that the Tess and Deficio have gone in towards that top lane. You can see the Tribush ward is already out, so they're going to be taking away those golems. It does look like there's going to be a couple of members of Samurai and Jeans going to bottom.
We'll see how this works out for them. In terms of the 2v1 matchups, of course, both champions have the ability to block damage. But, of course, Godbros is going to be on demand with Fate, as long as the cooldown's available. And Youngbuck's going to rely on that timing on his passive. He's going to need to make sure that that Granite Shield comes up and blocking some of the poke from that Sona Ezreal combo.
Apologies, I did sneeze there.
It's all good. You've infected me with your cold. I've been sneezing this morning as well. Right now,
I am a little under the weather, but I'm okay. It's all good, because there's great games of League of Legends ahead of us. Samurai and Jeans, Copenhagen Wolves. Samurai and Jeans, this time the blue team. They are 1-0 down. They are the amateur teams vying for position in the LCS. 2 amateur teams already made it through, are now effectively professional teams because they've got themselves in towards the LCS, and that's going to give them a nice chunk of gold, let's put it that way, in real money terms.
That is so true, but they have earned that. They have picked up that bounty by defeating the LCS teams in their wake. One thing that we have not pointed out just yet, 2 teleports on the side of Samurai and Jeans, both on Youngbuck in the top lane, Extinct in the mid lane, and Extinct not running Flash. So not only is he all in with a 30-0-0 masteries, he doesn't have an escape summoner spell either.
Yeah, but the thing is they've had to do that because they're against 2 Globers, Bjergsen and Godbro. They could stack up and make it a 5-man when Svenskeren goes down to that bottom lane. He could just be everyone there suddenly.
So we'll see how well they control it. In the previous game, Extinct's teleport to the bottom lane was well timed, but to be very fair, he didn't use Extinct much, if at all, anywhere else in the game. So in my mind, it may have been a wasted summoner spell. He's going to need to use it more effectively in this game.
Obviously, being technically correct, it would be the top lane because that's where the 2 duo lane is right now. So Youngbuck is going in towards that top lane. He is up level 1 still. And you can see straight away Deficio's on his case and poking him. But that passive is going to be working wonders to keep them fairly calm there. Wildcard's getting thrown out. Bjergsen really put the pressure in this mid lane early on.
Bjergsen's doing very, very well in this matchup because as soon as a Fizz gets level 2 or level 3 and has a full complement of abilities, he wants to all in. He wants to deal damage and then remain in control of that lane. Right now, though, Extinct is taking so much punishment from those picker cards and wild cards that Bjergsen is able to fend off that aggression, fend off that sort of all-in from Fizz.
Oh, he's gone back, he's got himself a Doran's Ring. So he wants to get that health and a little bit of ability power very early on. Godbro in this bottom lane, well, we've seen him on Shen before, and he tends to become pretty unkillable. Svenskeren's going to come down. He's taken a lot of abuse there from Samurai and Jeans. Just came in to clear and get some lane tax, and takes a couple of arrows in the face.
And more than just a couple of arrows, that's for sure. Really good combo there from both of Varus and Lulu. And remember that there's a very good pushing lane. You combine the piercing arrow with the glitter lance, and obviously you're going to clear those minion waves incredibly, incredibly quickly. So it's a good combination, and it'll obviously allow you to land your glitter lances and your hails. Now look at Extinct. He's been baited in. Gold card down.
Gold card straight down there. The slide's going to come through from Cotenex, but he was ready and waiting for that one. That is why he went back and got that blue card. And straight away, look at this, the aggression coming out. He manages to get that passive stacked up as well, and actually returns more damage onto Extinct than he was expecting.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bjergsen is showing you how to deal with an all-in Fizz. You need to out-aggress your opponent at these early levels, prevent them being able to just dive on you. There are no health potions left for Extinct, and Bjergsen still has 3 in his back pocket, so he's definitely going to be able to make that work to his favor. Godbro's taking a lot of pain in this duo lane.
Yeah, of course, saying all-in Fizz is generally a lot easier than it sounds, because generally Fizz is, most of them will turn around and put it straight back on you. Svenskeren has spotted out Cotenex there. He's chasing him down, forces him away from that mid lane. Cotenex is hanging around the mid. They know they have to shut down Bjergsen early.
Yeah, and of course with Fizz they want to. The gold card goes out and misses, ignites it down.
They're actually both engaging on one another. We're going to see it's going to be very tight between them. Bjergsen does pick up first blood. It ignites, should. No, the minion! The last little minion manages to get the shot there. The ignite had just finished ticking, but the minion got the kill.
I'd love to find out whether or not Bjergsen was drinking his potion in that regard, because he popped the elixir of fortitude, but I don't think he was drinking a health pot. I didn't see the green particles. They trade 1 for 1, but with that additional first blood bounty, Bjergsen is able to pick up a null magic mantle, and it has been confirmed there was no potion being drank. He may have survived if he'd started that earlier.
If it had started chugging through the pots, maybe he just thought he wasn't going to survive. Ignite, though, it didn't quite finish him through. As it is, though, the 2 top laners, or say the 2 solo laners, the 2v1ers, they're actually very even. Look at that, 15-15 CS apiece. We are seeing Copenhagen Wolves, though, stacking around this bottom lane, going to try and maybe create something. Svenskeren was with Godbro there, but they're not going to go for it. Instead, he is going to come through the bottom bush, but it is warded up, and they'll see him coming.
So if the Rupture lands, they may be able to set something up. For this particular matchup, Freeze has gone with that cleanse again. He mistimed it in the previous matchup against the Twisted Fates of Bjergsen, so we'll make sure he's a little bit more on point and actually getting away. Now we see the aggression coming out of Extinct, and all of a sudden, he is set up and in control of this lane. Even with that null magic mantle, Bjergsen is feeling the pain.
Well, he's got the red pot running, and the fact that he's picked up double Dorans, it means he's going to be quite a lot more confident here. The Atlantean Fizz. Not quite your skin. You fought for that one. Didn't quite get it.
I believe this is Tundra Hunter Fizz, if I recall correctly, because it is the killer whale. So, yeah, Atlantean one, he's just got a really cool headset. or headgear. That thing.
Some rioter in America's got that now.
Yeah, he has that,
Not
right?
you.
Opti, scumbag. He beat me in a 1v1 and I had to change. But he beat me fair and square, so...
He did beat you first.
Story for a different day. Right now...
That's how we settle things at Riot. Straight up 1v1s.
Down the mid, not allowed to go into the lanes.
No. Meanwhile, it is the Copenhagen Wolves. They are with an 800 gold lead at the moment, but their bottom turret taking a lot of punishment here from Samurai and Jeans, keeping that pressure on. It was, of course, Copenhagen Wolves that chose to go for that split, sent their duo lane in towards that top, so they're the ones that are trying to create the advantage here, but it seems to be working against them.
And it's something that they've done many times before. Godbro has been in these 1v2 situations, and he's one of the least outspoken top laners out of the EU LCS. He always does well for his team, but he needs the players to actually jump in there. Right now, though, you see Cottonex moving to the top lane, just trying to help Youngbuck out. He's taking a lot of poke.
Yeah, Youngbuck's actually close to 6 there, so thought about engaging once he hits that. We'll see whether he does. Godbro has just hit 6 already, so don't forget that that could come in any moment. The test just getting a little poke on towards Cottonex, keeping him at bay. Of course, that lane tax does mean he's going to pass away and hasn't gone yet. He's still spotted by that ward.
And Cottonex did really well. He actually hit 6 before Youngbuck's Malphite, before Godbro Shen, and before Sven Skeren on Cho'Gath. So very nicely done. The taunt comes down onto Freeze. Is the Rupture going to land?
Nope.
Thanks for answering that one. But the tower might go down.
Well, Godbro did manage to get that Shadow Dash down. We see the silence coming out, and they've held off that turret just that little bit longer. But it does look like it's going to be Samurai and Jeans that take the first one.
So in terms of the tower, that will allow them to take some control of this map right now. And we'll see how and where they decide to move around the map. We've seen Extinct, he's leveling up that Playful Trickster. That's the E of Fizz first. And it's pretty much the standard if you want to go for that burst composition. E, then Q, followed by W. You just allow that damage over time to, really do work after you've burst their HP. So Copenhagen Wolves with Twisted Fate and that first kill advantage, hold that lead, but look at Bjergsen.
They're diving on towards him. Here comes Stan United coming straight out. There's Godbro going to join the party. Can they catch on towards Cottonex? He's taking a lot of damage. You can see Extinct diving in. Here comes the teleport as well. Unstoppable Force. He's going to be chewing down. And Extinct, you see the killer whale coming up, and Godbro went straight down his mouth.
Yeah, he got absolutely nommed. The towers are traded though. You'll see the bottom lane tower has gone down. Top lane tower will go shortly. And the rest of the Wolves will try to apply some pressure in this mid lane. Bjergsen and Sven Skeren might be able to get some free damage down, but some very good patient play from Extinct. He didn't use his abilities until he absolutely felt he could make something happen. And that teleport paying dividends.
Paying dividends indeed. Actually, there's kind of Samurai and Jeans that were coming out on top in that exchange. But the fact that they did, get pressured in that mid lane, I guess it kind of all evens out in the end. Of course, it is going to be Extinct that did get those kills. So he's now 2-1-0 against Bjergsen's 1-1-0. BF Sword, different builds coming out. Freeze picks up that BF Sword, going towards that Bloodthirster. Meanwhile, the Tess, see, again, it's got that Spirit of the Elder Lizard.
So he's going to be working towards that same kiting build. I'd like to see in what order he follows, because Creatine mixed it up a little bit, going for the Blade of the Rune King, then Last Whisper, changing it up, then going for the Iceborne Gauntlet. So in varying item orders based on his opponent. So building up some armor is going to help, of course, against the likes of Varus and, of course, Jarvan. But all the magic damage from Youngbuck and Fizz is going to be difficult. There is the Destiny, and a good flash from Unlimited.
Good flash. He's got the Twin Shadows already, but had to get away very, very quickly. Unlimited there, motored away with the help of his shield.
Yeah, exactly. So Pix jumping in to give that speed boost over to Lulu and allow her to fly across the map. But flash burn. So Destiny for Summon a Spell. You've got to feel that's worth it. And this time around, Bjergsen not having the same early game impact. Now, Dragon has been started. True Shot Barrage is channeled and...
not going to land. It's going to get smited. And of course, Godbro didn't have that Stand United either. He's just farming out in the top lane. And unfortunately, it does mean things are actually... No, it's not unfortunate. It's very good, because look at that. They are 100 gold, but...
Twisted Fate passive. You can never, ever discount it. That's going to be adding up for a good couple hundred gold, 200, 400, 300. That's 500, 600 gold in itself, just in that passive alone. Plus, of course, that first blood bonus. So that's really where the numbers difference is being made up. In terms of that top lane, interestingly, Youngbuck, he's picked himself up a Chalice of Harmony. And this is something that so many pro players talk about and say, if you need magic resist, Mercury Treads are not considered a magic resist item. They'll give you some MR, but you don't buy it for that reason. You buy it for the tenacity. And a Chalice of Harmony, 880 gold, will give you more MR and all that mana regen, so you can continue to spam out those seismic shards and those ground slams.
Piercing arrow coming out from Freeze. He's actually fell behind in the CS, despite the fact that obviously being in different lanes. Now they're going to be up against one another. And last time around, it was Freeze and Unlimited that kind of got the better of the Tess and Deficio. We'll see whether that is the case. Of course, that was very different level 1 fight kicking off in that time around. And this time it is going to be Deficio with the item completed. Of course, the fact that Freeze hasn't completed that Bloodthirsty yet may give him a slight disadvantage.
And I'm happy you point that out, actually, because they were feeling the pinch, both the Tess and Deficio, because they banned out Thresh. It was Thresh hook off the Thresh hook from Unlimited that was making the Tess's life very difficult in that lane. And, you know, the team decided, right, we're going to let all the powerful champions through, and we want to ban out Thresh. Right now, 3 members of Copenhagen Wolves are setting up, and Bjergsen's been dived on.
It's an all-in again, Extinct, trying to see if he can get on towards Bjergsen, but the stun card is being pulled just at the right moment for him. And the Wolves putting pressure back on towards his bottom turret. We don't see any movement from Bjergsen. No, he's not going to come down and join this fight. We do, of course, see Konex sneaking in that top area, trying to create it into a 3-on-3. Looks like the Tribus is going to get moved into by Sven Skeren. Puts the ward down there, tries to spot him out there. Not sure if Konex has been seen yet. He is just lingering behind that turret.
It's just that gamer sense that they realize something is up. So they know something's happening. A good arcane shift from the Tess. If the slam dunk comes down, he'll be able to flash out of it. But Wisely is able to back away. And all of that pretty much equates to nothing right now. The Tess and Deficio need to be careful as they don't have a tower to fall back to, which is very important to note.
We are seeing Godbro up against his turret here in the top lane. Youngbuck is keeping the pressure on him. But these two, I mean, really, neither has got a Sunfire game. Neither has got an item complete. They've both got giant spells. It's going to be the classic old 2 fat lads from Grimsby.
So they're just literally going to be farming up, and right now Godbro's been able to pull a very minor CS advantage over his lane counterbot, and of course Stand United is available. Teleport will be up very soon for Youngbuck, so if another fight breaks out, expect him to just dash around the map with those respective abilities, and of course if Godbro's in range of an unstoppable force, it will be landed to cancel that.
Skeren goes and gets himself the golems, but it's the mid lane that we want to keep our focus on. Bjergsen has got that blue buff. Extinct is about to go off and get his own one. This is actually a tight fight between these two, because we haven't seen Extinct being able to go completely all in right now. He is going to pick up that blue buff as he bounces with the playful Trickster and takes him down.
So something that we're seeing in this particular matchup that we have seen before, LCS was able to find kills against Xpeke's Twisted Fate many times. It oftentimes cost him his life. I can think of 2, 3, 4 incidents where it did, but the point is, he was shutting him down and the rest of the team was pushing other lanes while Twisted Fate couldn't respond and couldn't react. This game, however, Extinct is playing, I'm going to be a little bit more passive. Right now, though, he is thinking of setting up for a blue buff steal. Sven Skeren's going to throw out the Rupture and a good playful Trickster away. It's on a fairly short cooldown with that blue buff, around 6 or 7 seconds. So as long as it's down, that's the very small window of opportunity to focus Fizz and try blow him up.
That's not going to happen. We do see Konex giving these red buff. And no opportunities being created by either jungler right now. Just getting that farm going, trying to keep up on it. They are pretty close in level, but you mentioned it earlier, the fact that Konex did hit 6 first, and he's kept that level difference.
Yeah, it's something that Konex is doing really well. Even though he's sitting on relatively, the same numbers of CS, that additional assist is going to pay a little bit of extra experience, and he's just got that minor advantage. So he's going to hit that level 2 Cataclysm a little sooner, and obviously if he's clearing out the camps, he'll be able to gank more often. But it's a fairly slow-paced game right now, and the Wolves, their positioning is going to be key when these team fights erupt, because if Extinct manages to land a good Chum the Waters, a good ultimate onto the Copenhagen Wolves members, they will be destroyed, much like that 3,000 elo shockwave from Ferelin Lord yesterday. It's going to have a very similar level of impact if it hits Bjergsen, the Tess, and Deficio at the same time.
Let's get it completely right. It was a 3,000 elo, backed up by a 2,900 elo equalizer, backed up by a 2,800, and wiped out by a 2,800 Creaton. that was the exact figures, I believe.
Too much elo. That is what.
Too much time on their hands.
That is what it equates to. Well, they got themselves into a professional paid position.
It worked out for them.
I tell you what, that time was well spent. That is for sure. And we'll see whether or not the Copenhagen Wolves will be getting their chance to take on the Elo King and the rest of Alternate in the LCS, or will the Samurais be looking to take that position?
Yeah, of course, if you did miss those games, they were fantastic. The final game in the series, Alternate really performing just as they needed to at the right time, taking down those giants. Of course, the VODs are over at lolesports.com, as is everything else.
Right now, it's just once again one of these very, very tense games. There's still only 300 gold that separates these two teams. Dragon is about to respawn, and both teams setting themselves up, positioning with wards and potentially to try and set this engage up. So we'll see who decides to go for it. The Wolves, however, do have positional advantage to get a lot of free damage on this turret. We'll see whether or not the test jumps in. Oh, look at that, he's been caught.
Chum the Water's on the test, but he's not going to do a great deal. The Rupture does land twisted. Oh, beautiful stuff there. Kodak's actually getting locked up. It's not going to be enough. The Ignite is running, but I think they won't go. No! The last tick of Ignite from Deficio took him down. The top lane, we are going to see that's going to be the wild cards. He's going to get caught out by those evil little ghosties chasing him down. Bjergsen's going to try and chase in this one. Is he got flash? He gets the stun card. One more card. There it is. And Bjergsen lands it on Youngbuk. I thought for a moment his passive might kick in. Just it had been long enough, but they may catch on towards Godbro. It is not over. Samurai and Jeans have managed to catch Godbro out of position. He's going to chase around towards the rest of his team, but where is Twisted Fate? He's going to dive purposely to the turret, and now he's going to be Godbro. He gets Joe's dived in on that. Can Extinct manage to catch on towards him? The rest of his team have kind of left him. He does put the Ignite down, and the Rupture lands. Now the rest of his team coming around.
The silence!
And wow, the test comes in. The silence from Svenskeren stops him escaping, and very nicely done.
So that was a 3 for 0 plus the mid lane tower. The reason it's 0, even though Bjergsen died, he died to a turret. He executed, not giving any gold to his opponents. And that all got started from the test actually being caught up by that Chum the Waters. Now, Unlimited and Codenex have started off the Dragon, but Freeze is a little bit out of position, and Svenskeren's going to be able to just bully his way into this one. They traded pinks for pinks, and we'll see who's going to start this Dragon. At the moment, Wolves, they want to, but they're not 100% confident.
If I went in the Natural History Museum and saw one of those big dinos walking towards me as well, I'll be a little bit worried. Svenskeren is in there, and now he's going to be chomping down. Remember, he's got Feast and Smite, so he can really try and steal this one away. Teleport coming in, though, from Extinct. He's going to dive on towards the test. You can see Godpro having to use his Stand United to save him out there. Deficio trying to back away. Does manage to pick up the kill. Svenskeren's the one that went down. Sorry, it was Konex that went down, and now Bjergsen's in trouble. He's going to get playful tricks to bounce on towards him. Youngbuk still going to come around, slams the ground down. Now Svenskeren's going to get locked in. There's going to be the hail of arrows. That's another kill for Youngbuk. He's going to choose in towards the Copenhagen walls, but it doesn't matter. They've managed to turn it to a 3-1 advantage for them.
What a great turnaround. They're using the teleport there from Youngbuk to come in from behind. He was able to zone out the Tess's Ezreal. And because Ezreal was forced out of the fight before Shen could arrive, Shen and Ez pitched up on the field way out of position. They couldn't deal damage. They couldn't stun anybody. There was a number of good knockups and stuns from Svenskeren, but it wasn't enough to save them. They lose the kills, and of course the Dragon as well.
And the thing is, Youngbuk didn't even have unstoppable force in that entire fight. He's now just got it available, so they managed to do that without a number of ultis, honestly, and they landed it very, very well. Really good performance there from Samurai and Jeans to turn it back around, making it 5-5, and look at the gold. 26.2 to 26.1. It's a 2-1 tower advantage for the Copenhagen Wolves, but you got to feel with that swing, that momentum just there, Samurai and Jeans are going to feel very good.
Yeah, and especially because they made the play. This is what we said they didn't do in the previous game. They didn't set things up for themselves and make situations where they could win. Now they did. They did use the teleports to their advantage, and it was after actually losing, so it was definitely a good turnaround for them. Extinct right now, he's finished off that Lich Bane, and he's going to be working towards those Sorcerer Shoes and some more ability power. Right now, Copenhagen Wolves, they're chasing onto blue buff.
They're going to sense him out here. There's a True Shot Barrage coming across. They are going to get the blue buff, and now they're on towards Konex. The stun card comes through. Bjergsen going to put the damage down, but he has backed away from that one. Blue buff steals enough to take it, but it's actually Svenskeren that got it.
So that's not the end of the world. You do actually tend to see the junglers stealing away a blue buff when you invade because of how powerful Smite is, and you don't want to run the risk of it accidentally going to your opponent. So, nevertheless, a Cho'Gath with blue, that's definitely going to work very well for him. Going to allow him to just continually spam out those ruptures, spam out those feral screams, and try to control the battlefield as much as possible. Ooh. Oh, Deficio's in trouble, and missed!
Chum the Water's missed on Deficio there, and he's going to be the luckiest support player alive. He's probably looking around thinking, oh, that was close.
Extinct threw that short. I'm 99% sure that Extinct threw that ability short. You can adjust the range at which you throw Chum the Waters. And that little fish, the water that was chummed, is not the water that Deficio was standing in. It's not the longest of cooldowns, though, so it's not the end of the world. Around about a minute 5 seconds, so it will be up again soon. But Deficio, he got away with his...
Got away with his life, literally, because Extinct, that would have been an absolute guaranteed kill for him, because there's no way Fizz is not going to take down a Sona.
I completely agree with that. The burst damage would have been very good. The two lads from Grimsby up in the top lane with their Sunfire capes, Negatron cloak in comparison to the Mercury trade. So arguably the most boring farm lane probably in in the league at the moment.
But Godbro is starting to build up a nice lead. We do see Extinct coming back up the top here. Chum the Waters will be available by the time he gets around, but he's spotted out by the ward of the Copenhagen Wolves, and Godbro immediately says, yeah, I see you there, I'm going to back away.
So Stand United and Destiny are available, and we've seen Copenhagen Wolves, when those abilities are up, they're happy to make plays, they're happy to make attempts on kills, make attempts on towers, and you can see that as it looks like the Wolves are trying to apply some pressure on this bottom lane. Look at Bjergsen's positioning in the river. If required, he can react with that Destiny. Yeah,
that's going to be the turret for the Copenhagen Wolves, taking it 3-2-1. Advantage for them. And Bjergsen didn't use that Destiny, walked down there, actually used his feet. It is possible on the Twisted Fate players out there. You can walk to positions as well.
Now he's using it.
Ultimate.
And he's just doing it for vision. Was thinking about going, and there's the fight.
He's going in. He's going to get straight in there without Zonya's Hourglass. Ballsy play here from Bjergsen. Flashes out. Chain of Corruption lands though straight away. And you can see the piercing arrow is going to come throw it out. The wild cards are going to go through, but still no kills land.
Look at Fizz. Fizz is coming from behind. Chum the Waters is available, as is Ignite. Who's going to get eaten?
The test spots him, and he runs through a ward, and that's surely going to be Extinct getting in the kill there. Uses the Ignite. That's dirty, dirty play. Goes straight in. Chum the Waters on the test. Here comes Stand United. It's not going to be enough. He gets shut down before it even comes in. And now Deficio is going to go down. Can he get the kill? Yes, he can! He got Extinct down before it came in, but it was a triple kill for Extinct.
Look at the pressure that Sven's put on this middle lane. He's got some damage down. He's going to be forced out of that fight. Even with Stand United, it wasn't enough because the unstoppable force from Young Buck's been used. I believe he interrupted Godbro.
Stand United, yeah.
Godbro's taunt had landed in that bottom lane, that entire fight could have gone very, very differently. And Godbro needs to use that ability from the safety of safeness, because Young Buck cannot be interrupting him.
I'm going to move to a safeness position in future. I'm not too sure where it is, ladies and gentlemen. We'll actually pinpoint it on the map for you at some point when we get that large screen that we can play with like North America has. But as it is right now...
The weather machine.
The weather machine. I think that's what Jason refers to it as. The weather machine.
Or the telestrator. Well, those of us that do watch the NA show, of course, freak the weatherman. But right now, kill advantage is with Samurai and Jeans. The gold advantage as well as the tower advantage is with the Copenhagen Wolves. And if the Samurais are able to pick up a couple towers, they will obviously overtake the Wolves in that gold.
So, CS advantage in the top lane is to Godbro. The AD carries, you can look across the board and see the fact that Freeze does have that advantage, 1-0-3, but it's all the kills right now stacking up on Extinct. That's giving that gold lead. He's got 1,000 gold lead built up there. There is 1,000 gold lead by Deficio as well. I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be a Philo Stone once the items do pop back into place. I didn't quite catch a glimpse of exactly what it is. We do see Konex thinking about going in for Godbro there. And sure enough, he's not going to slide in because Godbro is getting tanky.
So Godbro should be able to win that matchup against Svenskeren, and he's not really got the ability to duel with him, especially with that Sunfire Cape and all the kit that Shen does have available. Spirit Visage has been completed for Godbro, and it's something that we've been seeing Shen's doing all weekend long. We've actually seen Spirit Visage as his first item pickups in some of the matches. The one thing that's boding well for the Samurais is that Extinct's Fizz can pretty much kill any of the carries on his opposing team. On the other side of the coin, when he is caught out, he dies pretty quickly too. And as we said, the most boring duel.
There was actually nothing happening there between the two. I think he was regenning probably quicker than he was hitting him.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you've got those two bruisers that face up. What is interesting to see is whether or not the carries can shred through them. When Varus is hitting Shen and when Ez is hitting Malphite. Oh, there's a Cataclysm.
Oh, Cataclysm on towards Deficio, forces the flash away. And he's felt quite brave there. Oracle on him, of course, as well. And Svenskeren does clear out that wave. Looking towards Extinct right now. He's trying to camp out that bottom lane. The Dragon has just spawned itself up, and the Copenhagen Wolves are aware of this one. They're going to start trying to take some positions in this one. There is a pink ward, though, on the Dragon.
Now, the last time they tried to set up for this or try to make a play, it didn't go very well for the Wolves. It was a very good counterplay from the Samurais and Jeans with that teleport behind them. They're going to make sure they clear out any wards to prevent that happening again. And if they do pick an engagement, they're going to make sure they have good positional advantage. So you actually see an Unlimited starting the Dragon and a call going, no, we don't have enough information to work with. And here's the fight again.
Once again, those two fat lads. They could have just got off a fishing vessel because Fizz is here, he is now the fisherman, I think. So there is legitimate fishing going on in this game.
We'll see whether or not it'll actually make a difference because Extinct will need to throw a lot of damage down onto Godbro to try pick up kills, and it does look like he wants to actually try and set it up. Unstoppable Force is available.
Them Sunfire capes.
Well, here comes Fizz, chum the waters. There's the Unstoppable.
Is it going to be enough on the tower? He may well get taken down this time around. Yes, it will be. There's the True Shot Barrage rattling through, but they're not going to be able to catch on. And Youngbuck and Extinct combined is enough fishiness for Godbro.
Now, Destiny was available there from Bjergsen, but he decided not to use it up in the top lane. And a good combination of Youngbuck and Extinct using their ultimates and their abilities to shut down Godbro in the top lane. And look at the pressure. Extinct's been hit.
No, he purposely baited him in there with the Ignite, throws out those little ghoulies as well, and he's going to try and catch on towards him. The wildcard's going to be enough. Teleport's going to come in. Stun card once again. The wildcard not quite going to be enough. Didn't want to follow through. Yes, he is. He's going back Destiny. He's gone back for it. We're not going to see it because the mid lane's where the crescendo's coming across as well. But you can see the wild growth comes out. That's going to bounce them all in the air. And now Sven Skerren's going to get closed in on. The Freeze may well pick up a second. Yes, he does. It's a double kill for him. Meanwhile, in that top lane, Youngbuck took down Bjergsen. Bjergsen did get the kill on Extinct, and now he's being chased across the board. It's going to be the test that chases him. But look at this. Samurai and Jeans are starting to put the pressure onto the Copenhagen Wolves.
1-for-3 trade at the end of it. The Wolves are split up, and they cannot use their global their global abilities to their advantage. They simply got pulled in so many directions, nothing could happen. Now, top lane and AD carry are left to face off against 4 in the Baron Pit. Baron Pit has not worked out well for teams in the past. Will this cost the Samurai and Jeans? They're sticking around. There goes Shin. They got the taunt.
He gets the Shadow Dash on towards it. Youngbuck's taken very low in there, but he's not really the person you should be focusing on. There's going to be the Baron. It's getting picked up. You see Unlimited getting taken down. Now Freeze is kiting on towards the test, and in comes Extinct. Bounces in. Barry is not going to be enough to stop that crazy little fisherman, and he's just going to pop you where you stand. It's a 2-for-0 and the Baron for Samurai and Jeans.
That's very, very important. Not only has that gold now swung in the favor of the men wearing the jeans, that is, of course, the Baron buff on 4 of them. Lulu, probably the least important member to have Baron buff, has, of course, lost it, and they pick up their second tower of the game. A very good position for Samurais to be in.
Yeah, very good indeed. So the Copenhagen Wolves up against it here. How are they going to handle this pressure that now is being applied to them? They're 4,000 gold behind. That's going to stretch to around about 5 once this dragon goes down. Samurai and Jeans will be picking that up with the help of... No, not Freeze. Just doesn't care. He just walks on past. Doesn't want to give any help. Doesn't matter. You guys have got this.
Doesn't need to, but look at the amount of money he's got to spend. 3,600 gold before this very big creep wave. You see Jarvan coming in there and being a scumbag, stealing a few of those last hits, but showing the love and just making sure they all get that level advantage. With all of the lane tags that Cotnex has been taking, he's approaching level 16, whereas Sven Skeren is just about to hit level 14. So there's quite a big disparity between the jungles.
And that's a problem when the Smite comes around for the next Baron fight. He's going to be at level 18 way before Sven Skeren, so that will be an issue. We'll see how much that develops into one. There's Guardian Angel being picked up by Freeze. Of course, you saw he had practically 4,000 gold backing off there. He has got the Phantom Dancer almost ready to go as well, along with that Bloodthirst from Last Whisper. He is going to be a scary, scary Mr. Freeze.
Now, he already is. And he just picked up not only that, it was all in one single buy. So he was doing a lot of damage and winning those fights before. Now with all this additional statistics and the survivability, he's just going to play into his favor even further. And this was the one worry that I had for the Wolves. Without Bjergsen's Twisted Fate and the Tess's Ezreal, they simply don't have too many damage sources coming out from them. Yeah, Godbro's tanky and can survive a lot, but even with this phage, he's not exactly somebody to be feared. I believe the last Shen that we've seen picking this up actually went Frozen Mallet instead of Trinity Force. So we'll see how Godbro wants to itemize.
He's going to be split pushing. Stand United is available for him, but the Copenhagen Wolves are up against a 5-man push here from Samurai and Jeans. And remember, they have got that Baron buff on, so they're going to take down that turret. No doubt about that. The rest of the team come around, and they're going to push in towards that inhibitor. There is problems for the Wolves here. Are they going to be able to hold them off? Looks like they will do just for a moment. And I think they want to let the Copenhagen Wolves have this bottom turret. They're going to try and maybe back off this one, yet you can see Extinct's coming towards him.
And take a look at the rest of the members from Samurai and Jeans. They're still sticking in and around that mid lane area. So Godbro's got a fair amount of damage down. About half of that tower has been dropped. Extinct is thinking about going in. His ultimate's up, and it's landed.
Chum the Waters goes in, but we're going to see immediate turnaround here. They're maybe going to try and shut down Extinct once that stun card goes down there.
Great.
Very good Sonya's Hourglass, and the rest of the Samurai and Jeans are now collapsing in amongst them. They're going to be all all sorts of trouble here, because here comes Conex. He's going to have Cataclysm available, goes sliding in and slam dunks, catches them both on their piercing arrow, doesn't land. We're going to see a playful trickster coming through. Being Godbro is going to get taken down, and look at that, just slices through Bjergsen and picks up a double kill.
Absolute decimation. The amount of damage that Extinct is putting out, that was against Godbro, one of the tankiest members of the Copenhagen Wolves, and of course Bjergsen's never going to stand from that damage. That Urchin Strike just melting him completely. After how well Bjergsen was doing in the early game, I did not anticipate Extinct just being able to pop the Copenhagen Wolves, and that is what he's doing.
Worked in a very good counter, it seems, to the Twisted Fate and Shen combo that we thought maybe was going to be too much for them. But those teleports, the way they've played, have been magnificent for the Samurai in jeans. They are now 16-8 up in kills, and that is a 9,000 gold lead. They've swung it around so big in their favor. They were 3,000 gold behind at one point on the Copenhagen Wolves, and they've just swung it right around.
And it's just due to those teleport plays. I'm going to go straight out and say it. Because of the calls that they've made around the Dragon Pit and around the top lane and now the mid lane, it's just a matter of using the Summoner spell properly. It's not over yet, as they're going to take down their 6th tower of the game.
Svenskeren gets caught out there, and there's going to be Chum the Waters on him, but they back away from that one. Stand United was wasted by the Godbro, and that means Samurai in jeans, they're happy. They've taken all of the inner turrets with that one Baron buff.
And they managed to bait out Stand United. So the next couple of minutes, there's effectively not only the pause from that Baron Nashor being on their opponents, the fact they don't have Stand United to react to any of these ganks is obviously going to play into their favor as well.
Right, it's looking good. Can Samurai in jeans, though, close it out? They haven't taken any of those inhibitor turrets down just yet, and the Baron buff has worn off. Copenhagen Wolves have got some good wave clearance, so they will be able to fend them off. You see the Tess, he's going towards that bottom lane. He's going to clear out a big chunk of the wave there. We do see all of Samurai in jeans, though, going back and buying items, popping in, and they are looking very strong now.
It's one of those things where if you're the Copenhagen Wolves, you can't survive the damage that Fizz is putting out, but you can't engage upon it because of Playful Trickster, because of Zhonya's Hourglass, and the teleports from Young Bucks. So it's a very difficult situation to be in. What the Wolves need to do is try to ward up as much as possible and try to catch them off guard. If you can land a gold card into Fizz, follow it up with the Rupture and then the Silence, he doesn't get a chance to use his abilities, and that's the only way you're going to focus him down, by catching him out first.
So, the Copenhagen Wolves now always a teleport. They're going in. They're going to slide in towards it. There's going to be the Cataclysm. And Svenskeren has been separated here. From the Waters is going to come down. A giant killer whale comes up there, bounces up, and Extinct picks up like another kill going on a rampage. There's going to be a double kill. He's going to continue on through. He's up to 11 kills already. Youngbuck, of course, did use that unstoppable force on the Copenhagen Wolves. Now, Chain of Corruption lands. It's going to be the Test. He gets melted there. Youngbuck picks up that kill, and this is going to be an inhibitor taken down and possibly the game for the Samurais in jeans.
This is definitely going to be the game. They have enough members, they have enough damage, and a nice minion wave here as well. If Bjergsen's able to hold us off, that'll be impressive, but he's lost half his HP.
At that, sliding straight in there. Crescendo had to be used simply to save Bjergsen, but the Nexus turrets will get dropped down here. Samurai in jeans will be equaling up the series. It's going to be 1-1, ladies and gentlemen. The Copenhagen Wolves, they know they have a game on their hands right now.
Yeah, what an impressive performance. Samurai in jeans falling behind in the early game, managing to pull it back and landing play after play after play. 1-1. Need to win 2 more to pick up the victory.
Really well played by the Samurai in jeans there to turn it around. It was looking close for a while, and the Copenhagen Wolves had that slight lead, but it was definitely wide open, and it's given them something to think about. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go up towards the analysis desk. It is all square, 1-1.
Thanks a lot, guys, and a great performance there coming out from Samurai in jeans, Jason. I mean, as Demon rightly pointed out, they were behind ever so slightly there in the start.
Yeah, we saw actually Bjergsen go head-to-head with Extinct a couple of times. There was a first blood traded over, well, 1-for-1 trade in the end with Bjergsen. Unfortunately, he didn't have his health pot rolling, and who knows what would happen if he actually didn't die there. But still, it was a really close game overall. Some great teleports coming out of Young Bucks, showing why Malphite probably should still consistently be banned out. And as Demon said during the game, that we were looking at, you gave him Shen, you gave him Twisted Fate. It almost seemed like you just gave him the game in terms of the picks, but they were able to counter that.
And that Fizz. That's all I need to say, I think, about that one. I mean, that was such a great performance from Extinct. We saw the strength of Fizz there down in the bottom lane where they picked up that double kill towards the end. I mean, when a champion can do so much damage to a tanky champion like that, you know that you're probably not going to have the greatest time of things in the remainder of the game.
Yeah, you're not really going to have a good time. I mean, if he could do that much damage to your tankiest member, he could pretty much just one-shot Ezreal. He could one-shot Twisted Fate, and it's unfortunate because, you know, Christian even pointed out, even if you do catch him, he still has a playful trickster. You have to hope to land like a silence on, then a taunt, followed up with a stun kind of thing. A lot of things had to go in your favor, but then again, you have the Malphite ulting on you, so it's not like you can do this freely. You have, you know, the Varus ulti, the Lulu, like it's just you didn't have the time to really lock him down, and even if you did, you had just too many people attacking you.
Well, let's get into our replay then. Guide us through where we are in the game.
Okay, so it's about 18 minutes in. It's right after Copenhagen Wolves got that 3 for, well, I say 3 for 1, but the one didn't die to anyone, so it was really dying to a turret anyways. But they got a 3 for 1, they got a turret, and they're turning around and going for Dragon here, and it seemed like this little bit of a play out of the Wolves really just turned it around for them, or turned it around for Samurai and Jeans, as they are going to be able to pick up a couple of kills here. So let's get the replay on your screen, and I can kind of walk you through it, because I know Trevor actually pointed it out during the game that this was like a mistake, unfortunately, for the Wolves. And just to show you exactly where everyone is, we have Young Puck in the top lane. Extinct is dead, but up in 4 seconds, and they both have their teleport. So we're going to see this Dragon get started, and it's just going to go pretty much all downhill for the Wolves here. And I'm just going to speed up a little bit because I went back a little too far just to make sure to have enough in. You see Cotnex go in. It gets silenced, but you see the teleport coming in right here, and they're just going to just demolish them through this fight. Like, it's just realizing this game, if you look at it back over again, that you messed up from one fight, because this gave them enough kills to really get back in the game and really start to, you know, claw their way in. It gave Extinct enough money to get those items. That Lichbane already doing a lot of damage. You see Deficio, you know, that was just one Q right there that was able to do that much damage, and they're able to, you know, to turn this around. Like, it's unfortunate because we've seen stuff like this happen before. It's not usually around Dragon, it's usually around Baron, when you get a couple kills, you start to push, and then you go back and do Baron, and then the team comes back at you and reverses it around. Like, you know, it was like one little mistake, one little call that kind of turned the game around for Samurai and Jeans.
So we're going to be moving into game 3 here shortly. What do you think about bans and picks? Do you think I mean, Fizz is a very specialist pick.
Yes,
I mean, he's not a champion that you'd usually consider a worthy ban, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be banned out. It's just something for the Wolves to realize that if we pick Twisted Fate, they probably could counter it with Fizz, so maybe they want to give them Twisted Fate, or maybe they want to take them later on once they see what the AP middle is. So I don't expect them to ban that out, but the Malphite, I think, to come back, because they banned it in game 1, didn't ban it in game 2, and they kind of paid the price for it. And we saw Godbro on Shen, like, he didn't do a bad job, but he just wasn't as impactful as we saw back in the playoffs.
Yeah, where he was incredible, landing 4-man taunts left, right, and center. Really great performance by him. But, you know, we'll have to see. It is 1-1 now. We're all tied up. This is, you know, what we wanted in a best of 5, a really close one. We'll be moving into game 3 in just a few moments, guys. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the League of Legends Championship Series Summer Promotion. It is the Copenhagen Wolves currently equaling. I was about to say 2-1 up. I don't know where that came from, but it's 1-1.
Yes.
For the Samurai in jeans right now. And this is going to be a tight series, I believe. I don't think this is going to be any easy games coming in this tournament. And the fact that it is 1-1 says everything about it, because that was a close game. And then Samurai and Jeans, they knew when to turn it on, and they knew how to close out the game.
The replay that Jason actually took us through was the exact point that it all, turned around. The game was very close. In Copenhagen Wolves, they had a very good early game. They were doing well in their lanes. And, of course, dealing with Fizz in those, pre-level 6 was actually very impressive. But the moment he picked up a couple of kills and the moment that Young Bucks teleport with that Malphite was able to zone both Ezreal and Shen, they could do nothing in that team fight. And, unfortunately, it all fell to pieces for them. Yeah,
so what are we thinking then? Picks and bans, because they got Shen and Twisted Fate there. That's the holy combo that you can get. You see, your MMOs, you have the holy trinity of your tank and your warrior going in there with the healer. That was kind of the equivalent of a MOBA. Is what it is there. If you've never played it, I'm sure everybody else, every old MMO player is like, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what I mean.
Well,
apart from this guy's a COD 4 man. So
I'm an FPS, yeah, FPS history. But in this particular setup, the reason that works so well, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, Samurai and Jeans actually set that up. They made it happen because they allowed all of those picks to go through, and they pretty much said to the Wolves, look, go for it. We're going to leave these open. They managed to pick up a win yesterday with that same combo, and their decision was, look, we're going to give Fizz to Extinct. He's going to 30-0-0 as far as Mastery is concerned, all in you, and just delete you and eat you once we get to the fights.
Delete you and eat you.
Correct. It was Chum the Waters. It was the killer whale that killed the Wolves. I mean, if it can eat dolphins and things, it can eat wolves, right?
It's the classic dream of being chased by sharks on the land.
Yeah, pretty much. Land sharks.
Land sharks.
They're terrifying things.
Yeah, they're real, apparently.
Yeah, they are.
They exist in
regardless
on the Summoner's Rift, anyway. Let's put it that way.
Regardless, in this particular matchup, it's the third game. Now, we've seen two blue side victories from both of the teams, and we've seen two very different pick and ban strategies. So we'll see whether or not we're going to see any differences in this particular setup.
Well, they clearly didn't fear the Shen of Nigod Bro, but Elise, Malphite and Singed have been banned out, so maybe they're going to let it through again there, because they just felt they had that under control.
So Elise has been banned out in all three of the games so far. They do not want to give that to Cotnex because he went godlike yesterday against with him in the jungle. It was such a good performance from the Samurai and Jeans, taking out a Nexus. The name came to me eventually, and they just don't want to deal with that this time around.
So Zed does go banned. Doesn't go banned. Just get banned.
It has been a very long weekend.
English is tricky.
Zed being banned out once again retains the 100% pick or ban ratio within the course of the tournament and in this series as well. 3 games for 3 ban has not been let through.
If only English was my first language, I'd be much better at it.
It probably would be. Probably would be. So, Shen banned out. It has left Twisted Fate. I think Copenhagen Wolves may be trying to make a ploy for it, making a play to pick it up. We'll see whether or not Samurai in Jeans will let that through.
So Shen taken away. Twisted Fate. Will it be the ban from
Jarvan,
Samurai?
Zach?
They've let it through twice now, so they're clearly not worried about Twisted Fate because they know how to counter it now.
Zach would be the important one, I think, for me, because Samurai and Jeans have banned that against the Copenhagen Wolves in both of their previous games, as well as Jarvan being a pretty hotly contested pick. In actual fact, they're going to surprise us and take out the Orianna. So this has let Jarvan slip through, this has let Zach slip through, and this has let Twisted Fate. And these are picks that we've
I think Sven Skirmishes going to go straight for that Jarvan. He's going to be like, I want it, I want it, I want it. It's a Twisted Fate, you failed on it last game.
If not, maybe Zach. If not, maybe Zach. And the reason I say it's only because of the banning strategy here from Samurai and Jeans. They have removed it in both of the previous games. So I think this is what the talking is all about.
Of course, that does mean that the fact that if they don't go for Jarvan, then obviously Samurai and Jeans are going to go straight for it and Twisted Fate.
Yeah. And it's a combo that we've seen them using yesterday as well. They had the Jarvan Shen top lane there, Twisted Fate in the middle, and it was a combo that just decimated a Nexus. So we know that they can play them.
I recall Extinct playing Twisted Fate a number of times to great success in the past, in the days of Curse EU, and this time it is going to be Jarvan locked in, so Svenskone does win out the fight for the champions. This does mean that surely Zach will get selected.
If not Zach, see, I'm not too sure now about Zach for Samurai and Jeans because it's slipped through a couple of times, even yesterday during their games, and they've been banning it targeting at the Wolves. So it is a possibility, and I think this is what the teams are talking about now. Who do we want to lock in? Malphite was taken out, So now the Samurais will be deciding if it's going to be that. But they've left Twisted Fate slides.
Yeah, Varus and Zach does get selected. So Zach's first appearance in this series. We did see him in one game before, and I can't remember where the hell it is.
We've seen a couple of games. I think if I recall correctly, the Giants maybe even ran one during their
Yeah, I
series
believe so.
with a Kha'Zix and a Zach. And I remember it was the Bounce Bros. They were trying to get Let's Bounce and Leaps at the same time, but they simply couldn't get the resets. If this is going to be a TF Thresh, we may see a Fizz being locked in, but this is very interesting. Halfway through the picks and Twisted Fate still not even secured.
Rumble and Thresh. So taking Thresh away from Unlimited worked out very well for him in that first time around. I completely forgot about Thresh, the fact that he had snuck through. And Rumble this time around. Godbro's Rumble, what do we think of it?
It's questionable.
A great deal of it.
It's
Yeah.
questionable. We've only seen it a handful of times over the course of the entire spring split, and it's not bad, but it's not as impactful as we've seen, for example, from Soaz or from Kevin. Those are game-changing rumbles. The problem with Godbro in my mind is that his equalizers don't tend to always hit the mark or don't tend to always be in exactly correct positioning. So we'll see whether or not he's been training this and just how effective he will be using those abilities.
Renekton for Young Buck. It's a champion he was famous for, and it's a champion that is normally being banned against him, but they felt it should get through, and now they're actually thinking, oh, damn it, we probably shouldn't have done that. So that means he's going to be Zach in the... Actually, I say this, might not be the jungler, because we've seen Zach in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, it was Extermin that ran it.
So we'll see if it is going to be thrown in the middle lane here for Extinct. It's definitely a possibility. It can work well. At the moment, with both Teleport and Ignite, it can work as well. You can use that Elastic Slingshot as your initiator as well as your escape. So it's definitely something that can work out. What I do like from Samurai and Jeans is you've got a lot of damage from a lot of sources. AoE from Zac, you've got AoE from Varus, you've got AoE from Renekton. And if this Twitch gets locked in, this is going to be something new for the test, something that we haven't seen much, if any, at all during the spring split. And it's a pretty scary combo. The Death Sentence into that Venom Cask plus the Expunge damage, it's a powerful early game combo.
And more importantly as well, Bjergsen on Kha'Zix.
It's a good one. Bjergsen on any form of assassin, any form of high mechanic, high kill, carry type of champion is always terrifying. And we know that he can split push with Kha'Zix. It's something that he has done many, many times.
But you've got to give credit to Extinct. He's definitely met Bjergsen pace for pace so far in these matches. And it's looking like Karthus is maybe going to get selected. Yes, it's locked in there. So what do we make of these two team compositions?
Okay, so first and foremost, we're seeing something a little different from the Copenhagen Wolves, but with great synergy. If you have a Death Sentence into box, into Cataclysm with Equalizer down, that's an easy mode team fight win because Kha'Zix and Twitch will just clean house. But it's very reliant on landing your abilities. Samurai and Jeans, however, they're all about AoE. Renekton with his ultimate, Zac with his unstable matter, Defile from Karthus. And remember how they played with Karthus yesterday. They were patient, borderline boring, and waited for 20-25 minutes before they made a play. They wanted to get the items, and until they were comfortable to fight, they didn't fight.
So, if you've just tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, you've missed the first two matches of the Copenhagen Wolves versus Samurai in Jeans. It is 1-1 all square right now, and the Copenhagen Wolves back on the blue side. Blue side's won both matches so far. Will it be 2-1 to the Copenhagen Wolves, like I mistakenly said at the start of the show? We do see the test there, pulling out Twitch this time around. Is it a secret weapon that he's been working on, or is it simply a case of choice by necessity? Have they been forced their hand? Godpro on the end there, normally unkillable as Shen, but definitely got shut down last time around by that Malphite of Young Buck. And Young Buck himself, he's been allowed Renekton to sneak through, a champion that he's famous for, almost certainly going to be a problem in that top lane. The Samurai, there he is. Young Buck on your screen, ready and waiting to go.
And remember, it is one Samurai, so the entire team is fitting into a single pair of jeans, as the name touts Samurai in jeans. So we'll see how well this new composition works out for them. They used those teleports so fantastically well in the previous game, and I'd like to see who is running a teleport in this game. Is Extinct going to have one in the mid lane with Karthus? Because it's a combo that works very, very well.
I'm going to get grammatically correct and say multiple Samurai is still a Samurai.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you teach me something new every day.
I'm pretty certain. I'll probably get
The plural for samurai is samurai.
pitched out on Twitter for that by some professor somewhere. But I'm pretty sure when you think of The Last Samurai and all the other samurai films and everything else out there, I'm basing my facts entirely on film.
On
by
film.
the way.
Tom Cruise OP. He's the one that taught us this. An army of samurais are known as samurai, the plural. Regardless, we are into the game. Cotton X will be running Zac in the jungle. It has been banned against the Samurai in 3 previous fights, and this time round, he has got it in his hand. So let's see whether his flubber can affect this matchup.
Is there any going to be level 1 engages? Of course, Svenskeren is scouting out with that Damashian standard. The Crown Prince trying to see if he can force problems. Of course, when Svenskeren has had Jarvan, it's definitely been entertaining matches for Copenhagen Wolves in the LCS. And, well, Jason can attest for that one.
7 games played, 5 victories, an average KDA of 5.3, and a never-ending stream of from JCap LOL. Right now, in fairly defensive starts, you see Godbro, he's going to move himself towards this top lane, puts a ward down, and the pink ward battle has already begun. So that ward has been cleared out, and the Samurai in jeans have decided to do the lane swap. So they've sent Lulu and Varus to the top lane to try and deny Godbro's rumble.
Youngbuck on the blue buff, just covering it off at the moment. It's not going to be starting there, of course. It's going to be over to the Wolves, which is going to get leashed out there. You see Kotenex getting ready and waiting to go. Stretching himself. If only everyone could be made of flubber. We kind of are, technically.
It's not as fun, because we can pick up bits of ourselves and get HP back. That would be a bit strange. Right now, though, Copenhagen Wolves starting off those double golems, so they're going to have that level 2 advantage, and if a death sentence does manage to catch Youngbuck, he could get decimated by that low-level damage of Twitch.
So it's going to be helping out on that blue buff. Next, we'll be giving that one. Svenskeren's getting some help as well from the test just driving by there. It's going to be Deficio that will lash out and help Svenskeren secure that red buff. We do see Unlimited coming around. He's going to try and get the ward in towards that Tribush. Took a bit of harpoons for the pleasure of that one. It was Godbro that did that. Svenskeren was actually taken very low on that red buff there.
So we'll see how well he's able to gank. Still, he's saved his smite, though, so he'll be able to clear out his jungle relatively effectively. Got a lot of potions in his back pocket. And in terms of that top lane, Godbro was in the Tribush as the ward went down, so he would definitely have signaled to his teammates, look, they've got some vision, they know we're here, so give it 3 minutes before you roam around. Remember to time those wards as and when you see them, guys. So 1 minute 40 went down, it'll time out at 4 minutes 40, and you're allowed to gank after that.
Exactly. It's pretty much what they do. Sometimes they type it in the chat, sometimes they don't. We can't tell because we're not in the game. And we don't show the chat. There's a reason we don't show the chat, because sometimes
Tends to be colourful.
Sometimes there's colourful chat. Sometimes there's colourful chat. Sometimes there's nice chat.
It's oftentimes playful banter, but at the moment...
Oftentimes it's trolley.
Yeah. At the moment, you've got 2 very distinct different setups. You know, the kill potential from the Thresh and Twitch lane is going to be higher than that of Varus and Lulu, but the poke potential of Varus and Lulu will be a little bit harder hitting because of that percentage HP damage, as well as the range that Varus does have over Twitch.
So Freeze putting the pressure down, see whether he can do anything here. Svenskeren does come in, immediately takes an arrow in the knee, and then backs away. Hail of Arrows does go across, and you can see the poke continuing.
Well, even with that arrow in the knee, Svenskeren will continue being an adventurer, because he's still got those double buffs up, and will be able to start clearing out those wards. It's mostly just to farm up this XP and prevent the tower dive. Ideally, trying to clear this wave fairly quickly, but it's taking quite a long time, actually, between the 2 of them.
Yeah, that Damashian standard going down, it's not quite as bad as Lee Syndrome. It's like, I could go for it, I could Dragon Strike in for this, I'm not going to take it. Instead of the Q. But in the mid lane, we do see the exhaust on Bjergsen, and that should be enough to stop him pulling the damage down on Extinct. But that is a summoner spell already used up to keep him fended off.
Now, this is a lane matchup that was expected by Extinct. He knew that he was going to lose the lane. He picked Karthus into the Kha'Zix matchup for the 1v1 because he's hoping to win the team fights. We've seen a similar thing yesterday when I believe he was facing against like Diana, if my memory serves correctly. And he, you know, bounced back so incredibly well. The later the game went, he farmed up great, and he put himself in a very good position. But Slingshot has been charged, and Kotenex just leaps into the minion wave.
No, just going to take the wave and take a bit of lane tax and back off. Picks up his flubber, leads the way. If only if I could lose some flubber like that.
If only we all. German beer's not good for you. Right now, though, it does look like Svenskeren's on the hunt, and we've seen him on his job, and he hasn't had as much of an impact as he'd like to. Not the same level that Kotenex had yesterday by 5 minutes, that's for sure. And of course, it is very early in the game, and some good pokes by Youngbuck, actually.
Yeah, he tried to get in, got a bit of poke on towards Deficio. Svenskone is coming around to see whether they can put the pressure on this turret, maybe try and stack in on it, and maybe push it down. Youngbuck, I don't think is going to be able to do a great deal about this three-man pusher towards him, and he's got to be careful that Svenskone doesn't go full-on aggression here. We do see, just coming off the side there, we're going to get a flobbery landing explosive. Oh, he got hooked in there. He managed to get flayed up there, and there's a lot of damage on towards Konex. Remember, he has got that passive, though, and he may get popped here.
He managed to pick up a little chunk of himself, giving himself some HP and maybe surviving that true venom, deadly venom from Twitch. So he does get away with his life, but forced very, very low, and will need to recall and save his life. Now we'll see whether or not Youngbuck gets caught out. Fortitude of Elixir has been drank. He's expecting the dive.
That may well delay him for a various period of time there. There's the slow and the poison thrown on towards Youngbuck. They keep on beating on that turret. Sven's going on. The hook lands the game, and they're not going to be able to follow this one through.
The minion wave was dead, and Youngbuck did very well to move past the champions and clean out the minions. While the entire time that is happening, Youngbuck's pulled himself 5 CS ahead, and more importantly, Godbro's tower has taken an absolute beating.
And they're of course getting more experience because the fact there's 3 of them down that bottom wave trying to put pressure on the turret, and we can see that Konex is back in that tri-bush as well. He's going to launch himself back out again. Are they going to get in there though? The Flay comes back out once again, just keeps them at bay.
Yeah, so that bottom tower has stayed alive, so that's the important thing to take note of. Early advantage to the Samurai in Jeans. They're going to have this map present, and it does look like Unlimited. He really likes eating those harpoons.
Well, we've lost No-No. Maybe we're going to get an Unlimited. We'll see how it works out. 7.7k to 8.7k. Samurai Jeans with that 1,000 gold lead. Of course, that was picked up by that tower going down. CS advantage is building by Freeze, but he's going to be coming down towards his bottom lane now. Konex is still there, but you can see he's stood on top of that ward, so they know he's there. Every time he just lingers around, which is why Svenskone is still down here. Svenskone's been there for a long period of time in that bottom, losing out the CS.
Yeah, and he's losing out on the levels as well. He's only recently hit level 5. Zach is about a third of the way, almost halfway to level 6. So they're starting to balance out. In terms of numbers, we do see Konex has a very small lead, very small advantage. You've got to remember that the percentage HP damage from Zach is always going to be more impactful than that of Jarvan, as Jarvan needs to land auto attacks to get his down. Zach simply needs to be in range for that unstable matter, his W. And take a short-range slingshot shot and land on the blue buff.
Yeah, it does look like the blue buff will be picked up. We see Extinct passing over there. He has hit level 6 as well. Yeah, it's going to be Youngbuck passing, going back towards the top lane. So he's going to be 1v1 up against Godbro. Godbro himself is actually in the mid lane right now. And now he's going to back off. Just came down to see if he could put his presence there. No, he's going to stick around for a little bit longer.
We'll see whether or not it actually makes any plays. At the moment, it's been a fairly passive start, a fairly slow start. Both of these teams just doing the best they can to farm up, and both of the duo laners are now facing up against one another. Right now, though, we still haven't seen the test going to back and pick up any items, so we'll see. Looks like he's delaying the spawn. In
terms of farming-wise, how do you counter it? Is Rumble being moved into this mid lane purposely to counter on Karthus?
So it's one of those setups where in this particular setup...
Oh, he's got 2-level difference.
I feel like Rumble is a little bit more afraid of Renekton. It's a matchup where Renektons can actually win out because of the dominance, because of the damage and the sustain they have. They've got that free damage deal that they can deal with the slice and dice, Cull the Meek, and the stun. So it is a matchup that, especially when you get the likes of a Hex Drinker, it's pretty much over for Rumble. And I feel that's why they're doing it. Kha'Zix would be able to insta-give Karthus if they were 1v1 in mid, but it's more a matter of making sure Rumble doesn't fall further behind Renekton, I believe.
Yeah, and actually, he did stick around in that mid lane, got himself an extra level, so now he's actually up on levels with Youngbuck. So he's backing off and going to go towards that top lane. We do see Kha'Zix going down there. And now we Extinct, who has backed away, comes back with that Tyranny of the Goddess. Chain of Corruption landing on towards the Testo here. And there's going to be the Karthus onto a barrier. Is going to run out before he goes down.
Wow.
But he survives with an absolute pixel of health there. I think it was Deficio, and then maybe with that shield that saved him.
I believe he was on 4 hit points, and the shield from Barrier and Dark Passage just having enough between the two of them. I think you were right that the Barrier timed out, but the Test very lucky to get away with that one. And at this low level, that's a very high cooldown on Requiem. So successful survive there by the Test, but he shouldn't have been caught in the first place.
Was he in a safe place?
Safer place, not the safeness place. It wasn't the safenessest he could have been.
We'll see whether he can, we'll discover where that place is soon, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. We'll track it down.
Well,
Bjergsen pushing in that mid lane, and he's going to keep on clearing those waves. Of course, he has evolved those void. Well, actually, I haven't seen him. I'm assuming he's evolved the void spikes. We do see, of course, the Officio. There are the void spikes.
Yes.
Pretty much standard. You always evolve the W.
Yeah, it is a pretty, common build when you think of the Kha'Zixes in just the way that they level up and the range, the damage, the poke that you can get from them. The moment we're actually seeing Bjergsen falling a little bit behind those CS numbers. It's not a big difference, but it is going to start to show and pay dividends. We did see yesterday that Extinct, he worked towards a Rod of Ages.
That's because he gave Rumble that period of time in that mid lane. He did actually back away from the lane, so he gave him a little bit of farm. Had to give up just a touch, but I'm pretty sure Bjergsen's going to easily catch that up because we see Kha'Zix's farms going into crazy numbers.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest champions to farm with thanks to the range and those void spikes. And he's a lot of fun to play with, a lot of the splash damage. The one thing I do want to see is when these team fights do erupt, is just how quickly a Rumble Kha'Zix combo can burn through Renekton and Zac. Ignites are down and here's a fight.
Well, it is going to be Youngbuck getting very aggressive. There's going to be the equalizer going down. And now he's actually turning around with that flame spitter overheated, and he's going to back away.
Such a great play from Youngbuck. He brute forced Godbro out of the lane, but a very, very good equalizer from Godbro to, effectively cull any aggression from Youngbuck. It slowed him down. He'd have to run down the entirety of the equalizer and forced him backwards.
You might say he was culling the meek.
Might say that indeed.
Yeah, that is exactly what could be happening. Pink ward, of course, clearing out that Tribush ward, puts his own little ward in there because the pink will wear off in just a moment. That's going to give Copenhagen Wolves a little bit of goosebumps. They're not too clear on the vision right now of what could be coming towards them. We do see the fact that Konex is around that bottom area. He's going to launch himself in towards that bush, and is still so far unseen.
Now, Let's Bounce is available. We haven't seen Cotnex bouncing anywhere on the map. And when you combine that, in addition to the wild growth, the slow and the movement speed it'll hold will be very good. Now, they've caught Freeze, and if the Copenhagen Wolves jump into a fight here, Cotnex will be reacting at a moment's notice. Requiem has just come off cooldown, so they're going to have that entire stack of abilities. And after that whole build-up, Cotnex just walks into lane and says, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah, they backed away from that one. They've gone towards the golems. I don't think they're going to be able to hold off this wave that's coming in. They're going to maybe look to try and do it because they could have that ultimate coming in their way, and they are wisely staying a long distance from this fight. This just means it's going to be Samurai and Jeans going 2-0 up in turrets here and building up a lead over the Copenhagen Wolves.
And this is the first time that we're seeing Spenskeren really falling a little bit behind in terms of his counter-ganking, counter-jungling possibilities. He needed to be present here. He needed to be in this lane at the moment that these guys rolled him to try and defend the tower. And not only have they made, such a good play to take it down, they've denied that entire creep wave worth of gold, worth of experience. All of those minions have died to the tower. So it's definitely a big, big, big loss for the Test, who's already 20 CS behind.
Yeah, very well played there by the Samurai and Jeans. Freeze eliminated, literally freezing the lane. Youngbuck is just clearing out that top wave. Godbro is keeping him pretty much pushed up against that tower. He's not too worried. He's got them ward in the Tribush. He's got good coverage down the river from Bjergsen, so he's feeling fairly confident right now. And obviously the fact that Zac was down that bottom, he knew he was safe.
In addition, he's got his flash as well as his ultimate up and available. So if Youngbuck does dive onto him, he has ways to get away, and we'll see if he's going to go in. Actually, he burned his ignite there on Youngbuck, but Youngbuck still does have Dominus and the Requiem to join at any single time. So with this blue buff up for Extinct, expect that ultimate to be thrown out maybe a little more often.
Not that flubbery joy of Zac. He's picking up the red buff. He's going to maybe pay a visit in towards the top, but Youngbuck does look like he was thinking of backing off, cancels it, stays around. There's going to be the smite going down, so Konex has just used that. Svenskeren, as is right now, does have his available. And we are at the 14-minute mark, and Dragon is still available. There is a pink ward on there from Samurai and Jeans.
The
no
slingshot
vision whatsoever. Slingshot is going to go on towards Godbro. You can see straight away, Youngbuck actually didn't get the right slice and dice there. Couldn't close the gap on towards Godbro. Now we see Kha'Zix coming in. Youngbuck's in trouble. There's going to be the equalizer coming down. There's going to be Bjergsen using that ultimate to try and gain that speed. Does get first blood down. Now he's going to jump in towards it, but Konex launches himself away. It will give them the turret, and they're not going to be able to turn this one away, and that will be the first turret for the Copenhagen Wolves.
I talked about the equalizers from Godbro at the beginning of this matchup, and I take back what I said. The two equalizers we've seen him put down, first of all, were so great that saved him against Youngbuck, and the second time was along the exact escape route that Youngbuck would have needed to take. They pick up their first tower of the game, and first blood going over to Bjergsen's Kha'Zix.
Yeah, that may be a problem. He did pick up the Brutalizer, and he's actually going back on towards Konex. He's going to jump in there. He will put a big chunk of damage down. The void spikes will land, and now that flubbery goodness, it's going to try and reform itself, but you got to feel Bjergsen's going to take this, no problem.
And he's just been able to pick himself up a red buff right now, so he's had that blue buff thanks to picking up a little earlier. With that red buff, he's just going to be even more powerful. First blood plus a second kill. He's going to go back to have a good chunk of change to spend.
Yeah, you got to wonder why he stuck around that little bit. They had no vision whatsoever of where Bjergsen was. They knew he was still missing on the map. Yeah, he's still
Look in the mid lane.
Forward. Yeah, I'm looking in the mid lane. I'm seeing the fact that he is closing the gap on towards Extinct, but he backs away, avoids the void spikes.
Look at the rest of the Wolves, though. They're positioning towards the Dragon. They know that. They've just taken Cottonex out, so he'll just be respawning. It'll take a little while. Now, they stood right on top of a pink ward. Requiem is available, and you can see Karthus. He wants to come in. He's toying with the idea. Chain of Corruption is available, but wisely, the Samurai in jeans decide to back off because they simply cannot take on 5 members of the Wolves without Renekton.
Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves with that 1,000 gold lead. Not a dramatic amount right now at the 16-minute mark, closing in on. Rod of Ages being picked up by Extinct a while ago. That Tear of the Goddess, of course, being stacked up. And the pressure on towards his mid lane right now from Youngbuck as well as Extinct. They do have 3 members here now. It is only Svenskeren that's going to try and defend this one off. They might dive on towards him. Wall of Pain does catch on towards him as well as a lay waste. He's dodging around this one. He's just buying time, stopping them hitting that turret. Now the rest of the team coming. There goes the Equalizer. Is it going to be enough to slow them down? You can see Bjergsen jumping in there. Does land the void spikes, but they're not going to be able to chase there. If the hook would have landed, almost certainly they would have gone in for it.
Yeah, they definitely would have chased in if they could have followed up with the death sentence, secondary active, and then the box, but instead they back away. Equalizer was blown just to save the lane, just to save the tower, and with that first purchase, Bjergsen has picked himself up an instant Last Whisper. The hook so close to catching Freeze there, and they're desperately trying to defend this up. It looks like the Tess is deciding to back away, so he will be going back, spending some of his hard-earned cash, and we'll see whether or not... I've always wondered how this Instec can wield the bow and arrow of the Last Whisper.
They can carry many, many swords, don't worry. They all have multiple hands. It's when you see the AD carrier stacking 5 swords. He's just shooting those bloodthirsters at you. It's a pretty big bow.
It's pretty impressive, to be honest. Right now, we have a 5 versus 5. With the exception of Equalizer, everybody's ultimate is available, so they do have the option for a fight. In terms of initiation power, it's very similar from both of these teams in that Zac and Jarvan have the ability to dive into the middle of the team and deal a lot of damage, and you also want both Kha'Zix and Karthus in the middle of your opponent's team dealing damage. The difference will come in the Equalizer from Copenhagen Wolves. If they get a good Equalizer down, it's going to degrade a lot of movement speed and deal a lot of damage over time.
Well, Bjergsen is not there in the middle. It's a 4v5 at the moment. Samurai and Jeans trying to push it down and actually unable to cause any problems for Copenhagen Wolves there. They've got very quick wave clear, of course, with their champions, and I'm not really sure how Samurai and Jeans, whether they're actually going to be able to siege turrets if they need to try and do this. Even late game, I'm thinking if they even have a dominant position, it's going to be very hard for them to push in.
So remember, one of the things that does play into their favor is they're going to have the Glitter Lance and the Wall of Pain. So you're going to have that Wall of Pain in front of or behind a tower, and pretty much saying, look, you either walk through the slow and take a lot of my lay waste poke, but look at the bounce.
There's going to be the bounce. You can't fool me with this Karthus malarkey. I've seen Alex Sitch on Karthus, 27,000 ahead on CLG, and not able to push in on them.
Well,
maybe Anivia had a little bit to do with that one.
Now, as you're defending as Karthus, you've got one of the best wave clears. But when you're aggressing, when Samurai and Jeans are pushing against Copenhagen Wolves, that's when they're going to be. That's how they're going to.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
that's what they're going to
struggle. So they're going to rely on defending.
Well, we'll see how it pans out right now. Samurai and Jeans have backed off a number of times. Varus didn't get in range at all of that mid-outer turret. And Copenhagen Wolves, they've just got this ever so slight 2,000 gold lead, and they're holding on to it.
Yeah, they are, and there's the wards going out now, and it's the Copenhagen Wolves that feel they have that advantage. Of course, they are 2-0 up, and now they're feeling that they can push in, but it's, as you mentioned, it's actually going to be very hard to push, but the fact that Karthus isn't there is going to give up the turret, and that is going to be the 3rd outer turret going down, and the Copenhagen Wolves instantly put that ward down to keep vision on that spot, and a pink ward going down. Like, nope, not having that spot. These lane wards are becoming more and more important for the teams.
Yeah, a small misstep from Samurai and Jeans means they give up that tower, and that lane ward that you were talking about, we've seen them doing many, many times before. If I recall correctly, the last time Bjergsen ran Needly, they had a couple of wards in and around the middle lane, and he was following it up with spear after spear. There was a Needly player, I can't recall who it was, but yeah, we're seeing it more and more because you need to know where your opponents are, and you can't rely on your minions as the only form of vision.
Copenhagen Wolves have been pushed here and actually may give up their first turret here. The middle turret, sorry, not the first one. It is 2-2 in turrets, and you can see them jumping in here. Oh, that may be a mistake by Bjergsen. Tries to get out of it. He's going to get the box straight down. Is it going to be enough? Svenskeren goes jumping in. Cataclysm was there. And now Godbro, is it going to be the Requiem? It will take down Bjergsen. How many will it take down, though? No, wow. He survived it. Oh, my word. I don't know how he managed to get through that one. And it is going to be a double kill. And that's 4 kills overall for the Copenhagen Wolves.
You taught me this yesterday. He started channeling it before he died. Extinct with a massive misstep. He starts channeling that before, and a knockup from Svenskeren comes in there and interrupted the Requiem. Extinct got made extinct and did not make Copenhagen Wolves extinct because Requiem did not get channeled.
What a play then by Svenskeren in that case. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And what a great fight by the Copenhagen Wolves. And look how quick you can wave that. That's why Kha'Zix gets such high CS. The fact that he jumps in and clears that wave out. But wow. A 4-0 there. That is not good news for the Samurai Jeans.
That could be the game-changing fight. That Requiem would have picked up 2 kills alone, pretty much guaranteed. And Extinct, unfortunately, just mistiming that. He thought he was dead. He didn't look if he had HP. Got knocked up and it got interrupted. A fantastic fight for the Wolves, which, to be frank, should not have been that one-sided.
No, that looked like it was actually more importantly going to be the Samurai Jeans that were going to take that fight. But didn't happen. And it was a 4-0. That's how important just one click of that keyboard can be. Now we're seeing actually Teleport coming back from Unlimited there. Well, he would have had a ward put on his face and a harpoon would almost certainly have followed.
Well, we'll see whether or not the Copenhagen Wolves can repeat that success, because when a Requiem does land, it is definitely going to shred their somewhat glass cannon builds. We do have the Hex Drink on Bjergsen, so of course that will help out in those insta-give situations. At the moment, there's not all that much MR, nor is there an Aegis of the Legion completed. Dragon has respawned, Copenhagen Wolves are grouped as 5, vision advantage, and this will be for free.
And this will be the gold stretching to 6,000 now for the Copenhagen Wolves. So, they have the items starting to stack out. Hex Drinker was bought by Bjergsen in that last back, and now he's waiting on Youngbuck. Oh, he sees Kotnex there as well, pings straight away. That means they know that there's 2 members in this top lane, and they're going to keep on pushing. We do see, of course, the Tess. He's off and down that bottom lane. He was getting some free farm going. He is still chasing farm on Freeze with that advantage, and you can see Extinct. He's going to wipe out those waves, no problem. So, don't count Samurai and Jeans out just yet. They have good wave clear. They have good defenses. And if the Copenhagen Wolves got a little carried away and overconfident, they could easily throw these fights.
Yeah, remember in a team fight, they've also got the ability to deal damage and sort of come back from beyond the grave. You're going to have Kotnex that could respawn in a fight. You're going to have Extinct that will continually deal damage even after he's gone down. And with Bjergsen just hitting level 16, he's now evolved his W, E, and R, as is customary on all Kha'Zixes.
Not customary anymore. The Chinese scene have actually changed. They evolved the Q
as well.
They evolved the Q instead now. It's something that they've been doing quite a bit of lately. If you want to check out the LPL, that is the Chinese version of the LCS, the Tencent LCS, and it is definitely interesting to see the fact that IG at top of that league, and World Elite actually slipped down to 4th place now.
Yeah, taking a number of losses to some of the newer teams on the block. Positive Energy and OMG, I believe, as well, managed to take them down. So, you know, the
OMG indeed.
dominant team is, you know, suffering a little bit in this new best-of-1 format.
Speaking of suffering, Samurai and Jeans, they are up against it right now. The Copenhagen Wolves, they won game 1. Samurai and Jeans came back in fashion, and they did manage to take the second game, but unfortunately, it is seeming to be the Shaggy Wolves jumping on towards Youngbuck, and he's going to get away with this one. And he has used that ultimate. Of course, he's going to get a 40% reduction. That Ignite is not going to do a great deal. He has managed to evolve that ultimate.
So Requiem was available, and in addition, Bjergsen had Hex Drinker. So Requiem may have thought about throwing that one down, but instead decided not to do it. So right now, we do see the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves now stacked up. Here comes Kotnex, and let's bounce!
There's going to be the equalizer, though. That's going to slow the rest of his team down. The Copenhagen Wolves are just going to walk away from this one. Godbro is lingering around there. There's going to be the Chain of Corruption on towards the Test. He backs away. The hook came out there. And I have been told that Ignite doesn't matter from that ultimate because, of course, it is true damage.
Yes, true damage, not mitigated by any of those defensive stats or things along those lines right now.
I'm talking about Kazak's ultimate, by the way. If anyone was just lost by my entire train of thought, because I just threw straight into it.
Wow, the Samurai and Jeans tried to make a play happen, and Extinct's been caught out. They've dived onto him. The box is down.
And that's straight away Cataclysm pancaking him there. Unlimited is going to get down. Here comes the Requiem. That will take down Divicio. No, he got dropped before. Manages to get the double. There's going to be Lulu picking up a kill. Now they're chasing on Godro. There's the bounce. They do manage to interrupt him. Turns around with the Flame Spinner. Can't get on towards him. And I don't think... Oh, he has! He's got the flash. I was about to say, I don't think he's going to be able to get away from this one. But you sure as hell he does. They didn't really know where Bjergsen was, so they couldn't pursue.
So 3 for 1 at the end of the day. Remember, that whole thing started after the Copenhagen Wolves fended off a 4 versus 5. I feel that they were feeling a little overconfident, and they stuck around longer than they should have. They did manage to get Extinct down, but miscalculated how much damage that Requiem was going to do. And the Samurai and Jeans just pretty much steamrolled through them. So a good team fight for them. But there's still a sizable goal difference between these two teams. The Copenhagen Wolves are still in the driver's seat.
Yeah, while this is all happening, Bjergsen's happily walking around, farming everything in the jungle, and actually killing off anyone that approaches him in that top lane. 4-0-1, he's now completed and got that Black Cleaver. So he's got a hell of a lot of damage. Not a great deal of defense, but really when you're a fly, you don't need defense.
No, not at all, because of course he can't be swatted. He's the only fly that swats people, not the other way around right now. Running around the map, 4-0-1, 278 CS, 50 ahead of his lane counterpart. We haven't looked at the CS numbers in quite a while. It's remained fairly even across the board.
Well, Blue's trying to get stolen away there, but we do see Extinct coming in. They may well collapse on towards him. Extinct has to back away from that one. They have got the ward in place. The test is coming up there now. Remember, he has got Smite here, Svenskeren, so may use it just to make sure they secure it. And he does.
Yeah, so Smite used by Svenskeren. He's picked himself up blue buff. Going to just be able to get more of those Demacian standards out, land more Cataclysms more often. And of course, we will be seeing most likely Bjergsen picking up his own blue buff, which he's been doing the majority of this game. Still no lifesteal picked up for him. So he's just gone straight for that armor penetration, a little bit of defense in that Hex Drinker, but even that's an aggressive defensive item.
Yeah, Zony's Hourglass sort of being built towards by Extinct, and of course, the fact that he hasn't got that blue, that means that Requiem's not going to come up any quicker. Bjergsen is still being a presence in that top lane, approaching 300 CS now and continuing that split push farm that the Samurai and Jeans are actually kind of semi-ignoring. Youngbuck does keep going up there to deal with that wave.
They're afraid of him.
You know the fact, well, and rightly so, because he's actually almost got double the farm of Youngbuck right now and those 4 kills compared to 0-3-0. There's not a lot that Youngbuck, even on Renekton, can do about him. He's 4 levels behind him.
There's nothing anybody on the Samurai and Jeans team can do against Bjergsen. He's level 18 already. First level 18 by a long, long, long way. The highest level over on the Samurai and Jeans is level 15 for Extinct, so he doesn't even have his 3rd rank of his ultimate yet. So that tells you how effective Bjergsen has been at the split pushing, at the CS, and of course picking up those kills. It's going to play into his favor. Right now we've seen the Copenhagen Wolves trying to set up in and around Baron, put a couple of wards down, and they were thinking about it, but I think they would have seen some of the other promo games and realized, well, we don't want to throw this away.
Yeah, let's not take our advantage away on this Baron right now. Bjergsen did just go back, and now he's got that mirror mana on him as well. That's going to be more damage. He's going to be a scary, scary beastie, and it is going to be now the Baron they're heading towards. They feel they're strong enough. And
especially because of the fact that Extinct is now no longer there. He's just been revealed in that bottom wave, and the timing was perfect for Copenhagen Wolves. They were waiting for that very big minion wave to push on the bottom inhibitor, or bottom turret. Baron is down to half health. The rest of the Samurai and Jeans are here. Here comes the Requiem, and wisely decided back away. But look at the chain.
Chain of Corruption lands, and it's going to be Svenskeren sliding in. Youngbuck's going to be the focused target. And actually, Copenhagen Wolves were taken fairly low from that one. Of course, the Requiem hitting all of them. Piercing arrow goes on towards the test. The test did use spray and pray there as well. And now it's going to be Samurai and Jeans pushing in towards his middle turret. They're going to be able to hit and run, take it away. Or are they? Equalizer comes across and really does slow the entire Samurai and Jeans down. Look at that. Bjergsen wanted a piece of that. Immediately you hear them blips going off. He's going to use the ultimate. He's going in towards Youngbuck. Tries to back away. He's going to have that jump back up in a moment. It's Extinct that's going to get the wild growth on him, though. He is going to be doing a lot of damage down here. Konex is going to get dropped. He's going to be pointing towards that passive, but straight away, so is Extinct. Hasn't got Requiem available, remember. It's going to be Bjergsen jumping around, absolutely massacring the team. It is an ace for the Copenhagen Wolves, a 5-4-0.
That fight could not have gone better for the Copenhagen Wolves. They re-engaged after all the abilities were down. They picked their targets, and there was so much focus onto Bjergsen. Bjergsen hopped away. Then they tried to focus down the Tess. Tess wasn't in range. Then they tried to focus on Sven. And look at all of their HP bars. The Samurais in Jeans simply couldn't get all the damage on the right target at the right time. It's cost them 2 turrets, an inhibitor, and an ace.
And that is going to be Copenhagen Wolves now picking up a fairly substantial lead. The fact that those super minions are spawning, they didn't go for Baron, of course. They could have gone for that, but there was no reason. They should take the inhibitor. That is the objective right now. Deficio does just see that ward as he's about to pass by. Now it's a 10 kill advantage, but more importantly, it's an 11,000 gold advantage for the Copenhagen Wolves. 6-0-3 on Bjergsen, 0-1-8 on the support as well. I've got to point that out, 1-1-9. The jungler, they're all doing their job right now and it's working out. And, you know, they were banning out Renekton against Youngbook, but they've managed to deal with it very well. He's 0-4-0 right now.
In terms of this particular matchup, we haven't seen Renekton being targeted from the Wolves to the Samurai and Jeans, but the rest of the teams over the course of the weekend have, of course, been focusing it down. And to be very honest, it has not had any form of impact because even though he was doing well against Rumble, Copenhagen Wolves just moved Rumble around as and where and when required and then just said, Bjergsen, you go deal with him. We don't want to fight the Crocodile. And he's been 1v1ing him all afternoon long.
Yeah, it's a horrible position for him to be in. The blue's going to get given to Bjergsen, or it's taken. It's not being given. He's taking it himself.
Mine.
Mine, indeed. And now they're back on towards the Baron. And this time, you know, it's Deficio with that Oracle. He's going to lash out a couple of those wards. And Samurai and Jeans, they're going to be forced to either fight for this one or give it up.
So in terms of the build now coming out of Bjergsen, he's working towards that more of Mortius. He's got the pickaxe as well as a Hex Drinker. I imagine that's going to be his next focus. And I'd like to see what his last item's going to be, whether it's going to be the likes of a Warmogs, Guardian Angel, maybe even a Bloodthirster if he's just going to go all in. The fact that he has no lifesteal means that in between fights, he needs to recall and heal up before they can pick more engagements. He can't go into the jungle and give himself a bunch of HP boost for the next fights.
They're baiting this one out. They have no intention of going for Baron right now because you can see the test. He's continuing to just shove that bottom lane. And all of Samurai and Jeans are being forced to stay up there. Look at the top lane. You see Bjergsen in there. They're going to try and dive for this one, but they're not going to be able to catch him down there. Godbro and Svenskeren, very slippery champions, and now we see the test starting to close in. Everybody is coming in from every angle in towards Samurai and Jeans. They are going to have to back towards their Nexus turrets. There's no inhibitor to go to.
And remember that when you do have an inhibitor down, the rest of your lane's minions have that additional HP, so they're going to be naturally pushing the waves anyway. Copenhagen Wolves are just biding their time. They're playing the patient game, and they're waiting to catch people out. This is a four-man Wolves, and they've got him!
The hook comes in, and Limited's going to get taken down and popped just like that. There's the equalizer. He doesn't manage to catch on towards Extinct. We can see the Rat. He's sneaking up the bottom lane, and that was just walking straight in towards that one. They were ready and waiting. And the Copenhagen Wolves laid a perfect trap.
So very well played. I was wondering if Svenskeren was going to jump in with Cataclysm and try set something up more, but I think once that equalizer whiffed, he decided against it and felt could have done better just to back away. So Unlimited's down. Wild Growth was not used in that engagement, and a five-man wolf pack is stacking in this top lane to try and take down the second inhibitor turret.
Yeah, Extinct is going to be able to keep that wave at bay for a short period, but does he want to go in? Does he want to risk it? Because he will get dropped so quickly. And look at Youngbook. Look how slow he went down there. Dominus was used, but he backs away from that one. There's going to be Chain of Corruption. He's not really going to do enough there. The test does get taken down. Extinct is still alive as well. There's a good fight currently for the Samurai and Jeans. You can see Koinex trying to get in there. Has to use less bounce to try and escape. Wild Growth does come out just at the right time, and he is going to go down. The passive wasn't available. It was Deficio that picks up the kill here. Youngbook has returned back from the fountain, and they do fend it off. It was a 1-for-1, a good exchange for Samurai and Jeans.
Very well played. Literally all of that AoE destroyed the HP bar of the test, running through them, Renekton, Zac, and Karthus with all of that splash damage almost. While that was going on, that very big minion wave on the bottom lane was pushing up towards the tower, got a lot of damage down to it, but Extinct will be able to save it.
Just saves it just in time as well, because that nearly got cleared out. Remember, they've still not gone for Baron. Deficio is just kind of been baiting it with that Oracle. We do see pink wards coming out from Unlimited. It's actually taking down that ward. Svenskeren just backed away. Chose to just...
We held our breath there for a moment.
Gutsed it out there and absolutely made sure he got away. Still no pink wards though, so they can't clear out that death bush, which you can see Deficio in. And he has got that Oracle on. So at the moment, Unlimited's are hurting for gold right now.
So Zac has been banned out against Cottonex in the games 1 and 2. And in this third game, if you look at his items, he's sitting on nothing, to be honest. There's not a lot. He's trying to work towards that Sunfire Cape and has been trying to do so for the entirety of this matchup. But because of the presence that Copenhagen Wolves have had in and around the map, they've just been spending so much money on wards and on vision that he hasn't been able to complete anything bigger. The number of pink wards that Samurai and Jeans have been putting down is a very, very big number. And you can see that right now as they have vision and they're not going to fall for the same trap second time in a row.
And if you think about it, they didn't actually give him a chance at the start, really. Because every time Kotenex came down for those ganks or to help out Youngbook, Svenskeren was there. He was alongside his duo lane, so they were outnumbering him every single time. And obviously they tried to use that Requiem right at level 6, wasn't it? Just as he hit it, didn't work out for him, managed to get away with absolutely nothing in the test, so he survived on nothing. So there was a couple of moments that hinged on possibilities, but it is the Copenhagen Wolves going in towards the Baron. They have cleared out the vision of Samurai and Jeans. They're going to have to get closer, and you can see that Wall of Pain already used up just to get focused. Conex is going to launch in there. It's going to be too late. The hook actually comes in. They do count towards Lulu there. Deficio going very aggressive. Chain of Corruption is going to come out. Youngbuck's going to get focused, and look at Deficio. He's just absolutely delaying the whole team. Extinct uses that Zhonya's Hourglass very early on. Does manage to get hooked in there.
Wow.
Last the play down. He's going to be putting that defile across everyone. Here comes the Requiem. It's not going to be enough, I feel. It does manage to get one kill. It was Deficio that he took down, but that is not a great deal. And Bjergsen, of course, picked up yet another. Unlimited gets away with nothing on his life. And now the Copenhagen Wolves, after a 3-for-1 and the Baron, are going to push straight in for the Nexus.
Deficio single-handedly won that team fight. He flew over the wall onto Unlimited. He walked in the middle of 4 members of Samurai and Jeans. He put the box down and literally said, "You shall not pass. You will not fight the Copenhagen Wolves without me saying so," and then walked away like a boss. The Requiem picked him up at the end, but it's allowed his team to pick up this victory. They will take down the Nexus turrets. They will go 2-1 in the series, and now the Wolves have 2 match points.
Deficio doing his best Gandalf impression. Bjergsen picking up a kill on Unlimited. Didn't even see him. He was just caught under the feet. It is going to be the win. Copenhagen Wolves 2-1 here, and they take the lead once again in the series. Remember, this is a best of 5. It is not over yet, but that is just one step closer for the Copenhagen Wolves. We're going to go over to Joe Miller and Jason Kaplan to take us through that game, because Samurai and Jeans, they seemed a little bit hesitant in what to do against Bjergsen's Kazakhs. I expect to ban there next time.
Thanks a lot, guys. A very convincing performance coming out of the Copenhagen Wolves there, Jason. And now it all started with that first blood, a very late first blood, we have to say, actually. Coming in first at 40 minutes into the game. It's been a while since we've seen one that late on it. But we can also, I think, expect it because of the high-pressure situation. We've already discussed all this anyway. But it didn't really slow down for the Wolves there. You know, they went 2-for-0 at the start, and then there was that big fight in middle.
Yeah, there was. And I was talking to you during this, Joe, and I'm like, why is Bjergsen so damn good at snowballing champions? Because every time he plays one, he always does well, always carries the team on his back. You saw his Twisted Fate in game 1. You saw his Kazakhs here, which he didn't die once. But that fight in middle, I mean, it was 2-0, just like you said. It was 1940 in, and the gold lead was only about 2,000 in favor of the Wolves, and yet this was like the big turning point. You heard Quickshot say it, like that fight right there just gave Wolves a huge advantage, and they used that to their ability.
Well, turning point would indicate that it kind of turned
Ooh,
to the other team. It was more like a follow-on point, or a tipping point. I like that one. So let's get into the replay, and this is, of course, that fight in the middle where Karthus pressed R to whip.
Yes, he did. I mean, you always think of Karthus, you can push the R and you'll win games, but not if you're not dead yet and you get interrupted by Svenskeren, which he did that enough to me. Extinct now knows how I feel during this when Svenskeren always interrupted him. Let's get the replay on the screen and show you what happened, because there's a couple of really cool things that really lock down this fight for them. So we're going to see Godbro, he's going to pop the Initiate with that Rumble Ultimate, and then we're going to see a 3-man Cataclysm that comes out of Svenskeren that really sets up this. Actually, I am not in the right position. No, yeah, I am in the right position. Good. Whew. Doubted myself for a second. So Extinct, he gets caught right here. You see Bjergsen, he goes in. And Extinct actually gets a nice flash behind the enemy, or behind his own teammates, but he still gets hit with the Void Spikes anyways. But the Lulu Ultimate keeps him healthy enough that Bjergsen wouldn't end up getting a reset. So Bjergsen's going to retreat, and then you see Svenskeren just fly in. And I got to point out this, that Deficio, he actually catches Cottonex with a Q right when he starts doing Let's Bounce. So he actually protects Godbro. He protects the Tess from getting knocked up at all and not taking any damage. So here comes Svenskeren, he gets a nice knockup, there's a nice Cataclysm. And then, of course, he just kind of walks away there with the flash over the wall. You're going to see down here, I mean, we were looking at the screen, Joe, and we were saying, like, why is Bjergsen not dying with the Karthus Ultimate coming in? Look how low he drops. I clocked him in at, I believe, 30 health at the end of this little engagement here, right onto Youngbuck. And, of course, you see the Karthus Ultimate coming in, and Svenskeren, I mean, we've talked about how good his Jarvan is and why it's been banned out against him. That clutch play right here just saved them so much, because if you looked at the other way, Extinct, if he got that kill, we could have seen Samurai and Jeans, you know, turn the game around. So he gets a nice knockup, and of course, because of that, Bjergsen's able to just kind of stay alive. They're able to pick up the kills, and they're able to push them back, getting 4 kills for 0 deaths. That was just so well played. And that's why you always see Jarvan ban out against Svenskeren.
Yeah, and if you looked at the health there as well for
Actually,
the Wolves, it could well have been, I think, 3 kills. I think 3 of them were low enough that that Requiem may have taken them down. So, that would have been a completely different outcome, and you can probably say that the game may have, gone on to then be different somewhat.
Exactly.
I mean, the Wolves, after that, they did build up this nicely. They did have a point, though, down in the bottom lane, a little bit later on than that, where they actually ended up losing a team fight. And I remember Demon saying something like, they got a bit too overconfident with the position that they're in the game there. And it looked that way. They engaged in bottom, and then all of a sudden realized, we're not really winning this one, and they ended up losing 3 men for 1.
It was a 4v5 situation where we actually saw Samurai and Jeans try to initiate onto them. Connix tried to do less bounce, but they escaped right away. Bjergsen was top lane. He actually went back to base, and then they just said, you know what, we could probably win this fight, and then they paid the price for it. And that was like I guess a big wake-up moment for the Wolves, saying, hey, you know what, don't do that again. We need Bjergsen here. We need his 4-0 score to help us win these fights. And there's no point throwing this game, because if we win this, we're at match point to locking down a spot for LCS.
So let's have a look at our second replay, and this is a moment a little bit later on than that, where Samurai and
Samurai and Jarvans.
In Jarvans, and in pajamas, but obviously Samurai in jeans. We're pushing down the middle lane and taking out the outer middle turret.
Right, this is right after Baron. So we saw the Wolves trying to go for it. They got engaged upon. They were very low on life. Let's just get the replay on the screen. I can kind of give you the story as we're watching it anyway. So it's 8-3, 28 minutes in. There's a nice 6,000 gold lead, 7,000 gold lead in favor of the Wolves, but you see right here, Svenskeren, half-life, Bjergsen, 75% life, Deficio, about 75% life. And they're up against pretty much a full health team of Samurai and Jeans, except Youngbuck, who's very low. So we see the engage that's going to happen out of Godbro. We already see it happening right now. And I'm going to title this replay Resets, because that's exactly what happens. That's exactly what makes Kha'Zix so good. I know, I'm loving myself naming these replays. Anyways, let's get into it. So we're going to see it happen. Rumble does get the initiate, and Svenskeren, I mean, he is below half health, and yet the Wolves favor their chances in this fight, and they're going to go in. You're going to see, Bjergsen do a little bit of harass here, and this is the moment right there. They weren't really sure to commit to it, but when Bjergsen got that damage onto Unlimited, got Youngbuck low, he knew he was out of position, they went for it. And we have to keep in mind that the test didn't even have spray and pray up for this, so he wasn't able to really attack from range. He had to get in close. So you're going to see him go back in. He actually flashes in with this ultimate and gets Youngbuck, gets the slow on him, which is really key, just to slow him down. Of course, Youngbuck just is going to slice and dice away and try to escape. And then you're going to see Svenskeren go into the backside, so he knocks up Extinct, he locks down Youngbuck and Freeze right here, and then he flashes out and walks away. So he's going to actually go around this side. I want to keep the camera on him, because I don't think anyone really noticed this, but you see how low his health is. He actually gets hit with a piercing arrow by Freeze right here, drops him below 30 health, barely escapes. So he's going to end up coming around and surviving anyways. But in the meantime, you're seeing Bjergsen in the back line. He's going to get a reset off of that kill onto Extinct. He's going to get another reset anyways off of Zach right here, and just goes into the back line. Reset, goes after Freeze, reset. Just, that is Kha'Zix. And then you even see Svenskeren coming in for the ace. And that was, the point I wanted to make in that entire fight was just, first of all, Kha'Zix is overpowered. You saw right there, just the resets. It's hard to really bounce resets, but the second one was...
if you don't let him get kills like that.
That's true. That is very true. And then also the second thing is just the teamwork with the Wolves. We saw them back in the first 4 weeks, didn't look that good, but just their communication, we could hear them screaming from here. Going into that fight with less than half health on your tank, that was just a crazy move, but it was high risk, high reward, and they pulled it off extremely well.
Yeah, very good performance from them. Of course, they are now on game point. Just one more win from the remaining 2 games, obviously to secure their spot for the LCS Summer Split. So very, very close. We have seen comebacks already. I want to keep the whole dream alive that we will have all 5 games in this one. But Samurai and Jeans now, they're going to be moving on to the blue team. So we'll see what they can do with that one. We're, of course, going to take a quick break. But when we come back, it will be game number 4 between Wolves and the Samurai and Jeans.